to always bring in First Division players through the reserves. But it's great to stop waffling on about something, because we'll get our first coach on board in a moment, and it's a new man to the Eastern Football League. First game coaching Baldwin last week. Not the success he would have liked to see, but we still welcome him to the Eastern Football League and to the broadcast today. Welcome, Marty Pask.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me, guys.
So how was your first experience, not only coaching, but with the Baldwin Tigers?
Look, it was an interesting day at the office. There's no doubt about that. It was probably a game of two halves in the end. It was a good toss to obviously win by Vermont, and they were able to build scoreboard pressure in the first quarter. We weren't able to do the same in the second term, but I thought the way that we played that second half was really, really pleasing. We came within 2 goals in the third term, going into the breeze, and then, as luck would have it, the breeze changed late in the third term.
Did it what?
Yeah, and unfortunately, it was a real arm wrestle for a good sort of 15 minutes in that fourth term. But look, I was really pleased with the guys in the second half. It was just obviously that first term. I mean, if you look back at that, I mean, if we could have our time again. But full credit to Vermont. They really, really applied that scoreboard pressure at the start, and were really organised at the start of the game, and fully deserved to win it at the end. And we were probably chasing, and that was probably the theme. We were chasing all day when Vermont dictated from the start with the wind and hung on to it.
I said, Marty, in my tweet last week, I thought it was a 4 or 5 goal breeze, but in essence, Vermont could have probably been 7-3, 8-2 at quarter time. So 5 goals, 4 to 1 point. Wasn't probably the start, like you said, that you wanted. What was your first impression of EFL football, watching it at that level? Obviously, you've played at the higher level, and you understand that you're coming back down to coach men and impart your knowledge from the AFL standard. What were your impressions of the EFL?
Look, I've always watched the AFL footy from afar. I've certainly known about the league, and I certainly know where it ranks in football, against other metropolitan leagues and country leagues as well. So from that aspect, I've always had a high opinion of the EFL. From my understanding of it and probably watching it up close, I mean, the level of talent's certainly there. I like how a lot of clubs have developed a lot of people and developed a lot of players. I like the rivalries in the competition. Obviously, the grounds are an interesting one. A lot of them are very small, and obviously how you counteract that and how you need to play. Obviously, other leagues and the likes of the VFL and things, you obviously get a lot more room. So that was an interesting one when I look back in it, probably November when I started, and having a look around the leagues and the different sizes of the grounds. Obviously, Bayswater's quite a sizable ground, but by no means probably as big as what you'd find in the VFL either. So look, it's probably the main one. But look, from my perspective, I've always valued the league. I mean, it's always been able to attract good players. It's always been able to attract good VFL quality players, just as well as AFL players. So from that aspect, I've always had a really good opinion of the EFL.
One of the things last week that I noticed in the game was Vermont's tackling pressure. Their intensity on your ball carriers really gave you no free ball. Is that something that you've sort of talked to the guys about today, and obviously will want them to try and do so that you get those opportunities that Vermont created last week?
Again, it goes back to those smaller grounds. You put pressure on, you really have the ability then to dictate what you do and how you set up. So, look, you're 100% right. There's no secret to pressure in this day and age with football. If you can bring pressure and you can bring an ability to tackle, chase, harass, force turnovers, that's something that Vermont did really well last week. And look, something that this group of players that we are as a football team, we try and pride ourselves on as well. So, we're a bit disappointed to be out-pressured at the ball. But again, I was really pleased that particularly that second and third term, how we probably got that ascendancy back, but then just couldn't, manufacture the score that we would have liked. So, so the pleasing thing is it's there, and we know what we need to do, and I fully expect the guys to respond well today.
You've walked into probably one of the most successful clubs in the last 7 or 8 years in the EFL First Division. You've walked in taking over from a coach who's won 3 or 4 flags in the last 4 years, and it's your first year as a coach. How have you found the transition walking into such a successful club that demands success as well? From everybody right down, they demand success. How have you found that transition, and what have you done to put your stamp on the Baldwin Footy Club?
Yeah, great question. I fully understood and knew what what I was obviously getting myself in for, and understood a lot about the Bourne Football Club and the success that it is. So I guess you can look at it many different ways, but the way that I tried to look at it was that the parameters of success are there, the culture's there, the players are quite stable, and the senior group of players are there. And if you actually look at some of the age groups of those guys that have built the success, they're actually a really good age bracket as well. So from my aspect, it's just been about continuing more than coming in and flipping the joint on the head, on its head rather. I've really made sure that we drive the standards and we continue to do so, and everything that's been built over a prolonged period of time, that if it's not broke, don't fix it. And there's been an element that has been really successful and why they've been successful. And so it's been really about trying to tap into that and understanding what makes this group of young men tick. And I've pretty much spent most of the summer. I spent a lot of time with them building relationships and understanding what it is that they've needed to do to get to their level of performance the way it is. So from my understanding of it and what I've been able to do, it's more or less just trying to guide these guys. And I think improvement too is one that, people probably look at improvement and think, oh, well, that they've had it, but everyone can improve and everyone can be better. And how can we do it, and how can we be a little bit fresher in what we do? And we've managed to obviously bring in some more experience as well, and some guys that have also played some big level football and big games of football too. So we feel that supports that notion as well. So for me, it's just making sure that these boys continue to be motivated, they continue to be hungry. We obviously want to play a brand that we believe is going to give us success as well, and that's obviously for people to judge how that goes and what we're doing and how we're going about it. But I fully expect that this is a motivated group of men, and they'll continue to be successful. And I only want to support them and help them get to where they want to get to.
I think one of the things that we've noticed in a couple of years is that you talk about the size of the grounds. When Baldwin get to play at Ringwood, or they get to play at Bayswater, you see that expansive style of football. Side run and use of the football is as good as anybody in the competition. And in some of those grand finals, they have just torn teams apart with their ability to hit targets 40 and 50. The Gilchrist, for example, their use of the football is exemplary. But as you said, you play a lot of your football on tiny ground. So is it a way, as a coach, you just try and go back and hopefully you're going to play on the big grounds and you can play the expansive football, but you've got to set up for that smaller, in-tight game. Is it hard to get the balance between those two game styles?
Well, I think we're lucky in the sense that our home ground is obviously a small ground. So a lot of what we can do and how we can prepare for a lot of these grounds, similar to obviously today with Blackburn, we know what we need to do and how we need to play football. But then it's obviously putting people in the appropriate positions to allow us to do the things that you said. So, look, it's a balancing act. Go in with any one set particular plan and hold it for 18 weeks. I think you've got to be adaptable, and your game plan's got to be able to adapt. And if there's things that you don't get right week one, you got to make sure you get week two. You got to make sure you get them right. So we just make sure that we've got to. I firmly believe the things that we've worked on over the summer allow. What Daniel was able to do with the group and some of the players that you've mentioned early, that's been really pleasing and it's there. So from our perspective, we've built the game plan on that and continue to build that and continue to drive those standards that we really pride ourselves on. And it's no secret we pride ourselves on our contested possession, our ability to be first, tackling and pressuring the opposition. And I think every side, when you go out to play, that's got to be the foundation of anyone's team. And I mean, you can hear the AFL coaches, and they'll go on autopilot talking about that as well. And I mean, it's no secret that everybody prides themselves on that area of the ball. And I think that's something that you've got to look at your group and work out what actually makes them tick. And keep working at that, and then obviously from that you can hopefully then control the game and do the things that you want to do.
So, Marty, we could ask you questions
Yeah.
that go for an hour, to be honest. We're really intrigued by you and your endeavours this year. But let's talk about the game today.
Yep.
And this will be the last question for
Yeah.
now. What have the forward scouts told you about Blackburn?
Yep. Yeah. Well, look, Blackburn, I think they had a very good win last week, and their ability to capitalise on a good start. Obviously, they kicked 8 or 9 goals in the first term and really got their tails up. And then what they were able to do then to control the game. So look, we certainly understand how they want to move the football and how they moved it. Obviously, they've got a pretty handy forward up there in Hammond that will obviously be a key part of what they want to do. That's no secret. And then obviously what they do around the ground at the stoppage, and I know some of the guys that they've obviously brought in, like Socio and people like that who I remember him coming through in the TAC Cup competition, and then now obviously playing down here at this level. So, we fully understand and appreciate why they won that game last week, and I thought it was a good win for them. And we're really, really excited by the challenge today. And as I said to the boys before, we get a real good opportunity on a standalone game against a side with their tails up at their home ground, and we fully expect it to be a tight contest, and we're really looking forward to the challenge, and we've got a lot of respect for what Blackburn's been able to do last week, and we certainly will be very wary of some of the things they did last week.
Yeah, well, if you speak to us again at 5 o'clock, you know you've had a good day.
Yeah, well, hopefully I do anyway, guys. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Marty,
mate.
and
Thanks,
good luck.
Marty.
Good luck.
And Marty Pass joined us on Radio Eastern. It's fantastic because, as I said, me personally, I've got questions about his life outside football because he is a players manager.
Yep.
He is a new coach.
But
he
I
is
actually
coaching Baldwin as well.
But I actually think, Gav, that actually helps him a lot being the player manager, because he just mentioned the fact that a different set. He's got to spend time. He spends time with the guys, trying to get to know them as a player manager. That's part of your role, because when he goes in to deal for his players, he's got to be able to sell a personality as well, Davo.
He doesn't need any media training, that's all I
No,
can
he
say.
doesn't.
His
Very
ability
polished.
to answer questions, you
Yep.
can tell he deals on a regular basis with people who he's
Yep.
got to convince about contracts and all that sort of stuff within his role. So his ability to speak was just amazing. I thought really, really good interview, that one.
One of the questions that Alana alluded to too, Gav, was the fact that she asked Marty about the game style and about bringing in a different personality. Well, obviously, Davo, you and I were at both different games last week, and obviously there were some guys that have come down from the high levels that we felt probably took a half or so to get into the tempo of EFL football. And I rated Simpkin boys and Farron Ray. I didn't think last week that they had much of an impact. However, that second half, I thought Jonathan Simpkin probably touched the ball 12, 13 times in the third quarter, probably 6, 7 kicks to position, didn't turn the ball over, probably 8 or 9 handballs that put plays into the game. I think today we're going to see with just that run under their belt. I expect to see those three players to be a lot more prominent this week.
Yeah, I think so. And as Marty touched on as well, the difference in the size of the ground. So the grounds they would have been used to playing on would have been a bit more open, a bit more run and carry, as opposed to, I suppose,
a lot
bit
drier?
more. After last week, it was definitely torrential at one point, but I suppose just the more contested footy of EFL is something they have to get used to as well. And if they know the pressure's coming on thick and fast, they have to be clean with their hands, and they have to do it really quickly. So I suppose just getting that tempo in, they'll probably be much better for it this week.
Oh, without a doubt. And I think when you think about it, you look at those players, and we look at the one we were talking about last week as well was Matty Jones for South Croydon, who took about a half to get used to the tempo of the game. The other thing is that some of these players were traditional outside runners who could carry the football a long, long way, and they weren't able to do that on these smaller grounds. So I think they'll get used to the idea that they're going to be a lot more in and under and pressure players.
And now we get the home side's coach on. We've just spoken to Marty Pask from Balwyn, and it's great to invite to Radio Eastern. My first time to speak to him in person after EFL Sunday. We spoke to him a few times after some good wins. Welcome, Con Caravias, to the EFL game day, and looking forward to Good Friday football.
Yeah, nice to meet you guys face to face, and thanks for having me on. Yeah, we are. I think it's a great spectacle for the EFL and for both teams. So to get that opportunity is really exciting for all of us.
And the interesting part about the off-season is that Blackburn has such a great talent, local talent, that you had points in the bank, so to speak, and you've got so many VFL-listed players. The strength of your recruitment could propel you into the finals.
Yeah, I hope so. We've sort of always spoken about not relying on recruits. It's always going to be about our football program. We're never... under the salary cap now, it changes things, but we're never going to be that team that was going to be able to go out and spend a lot of money and recruit some big name players, albeit we think we've been able to bring some good guys into the club that have played at a pretty senior level. So yeah, our program, I think, is the thing that we're going to bank ourselves on, and we're going to continue to sort of build that, and to be able to add some guys in that we think are going to complement it, particularly coming from not only a high level but premierships at a high level, has been really good for our group.
Just one before I hand it over. In recent years, we've always bemoaned injuries, and I think that has given you, at the time, it might have been a headache, but now it gives you depth, and you've given games to players and developed them into senior players. Are you growing strong because of what you've gone through in recent times?
Yeah, it's a good point, and a great pickup. We sort of, last year, particularly the second half of the year, was difficult. There were some games where you could see that it was boys versus men, and we spoke about that as a playing and a coaching group. But what it did allow us, to your point, the silver lining was opportunity for some of those young guys to get a game of football and really learn what Division 1 top grade football is all about. So they've been able to come on, touch wood. We've been able to hold a relatively healthy list over the off season, and they've had a pretty big pre-season as well. So yeah, I think it's definitely a different looking group at the moment.
And that's one of the things I wanted to look at too, Colin, was the fact that I looked at 5 or 6 of the players you've got in today had, I think it was about 22 games of senior football from last year under their belts. And you've even got like Kenworthy, who's played the majority of his football in the twos, but it's about the program, isn't it? It's not about the individual players, it's about the program, and if players can fit into that program, that doesn't matter whether they play reserves football or whatever, it's about fitting into the program and what you do. Is that the best way that you can probably explain the way you built this team at the moment?
Absolutely. I mean, if you have a look at our reserves team running out there, there's some guys that have played a fair bit of senior football at this football club, and are good football players. And we spoke about it almost day one of pre-season that we wanted to breed competition into the group. And to be fair to a lot of those guys running out there, they're playing some good footy. It's just that the guys playing in the senior team are also playing some good footy, so they just can't crack in at the moment. But it is about our way that we want to play. And sometimes that means it's some good football players are going to miss out, but we're looking for good team balance. We're looking for sort of consistently playing our brand of football, and we hope that we're starting to really get that into this group.
And this is your second year now.
Yep.
So you've had that year of coming in, looking at the different styles of play, the grounds, all that. How have you found your second year of transitioning into the Essendon Footy League Division 1? What's it been like for you? It been easier?
Yeah, it's a little bit easier. I don't think I ever underestimated the quality of the competition. Every time I spoke to you guys last year, it was always about how good this comp is. I think what it has allowed us, though, as a whole group, is to get a year under our belt in terms of the different way we want to play. Them get a feel for me a feel for them. We got a really good pre-season under our belt as well. We don't sort of hide behind the fact that we didn't feel like the boys came back fit enough last pre-season. So for them to throw themselves in the off-season and pre-season, that's had a big effect on our group. And probably what it does give me an opportunity is get a better feel for opposition, ground, styles, and we're now able to adjust slightly based on that. But certainly there's not much in our game plan that's changed year on year. I just think it's been an ability for our guys to play that way for 12 months and now a little bit longer, and they're starting to get more familiar with it.
One of the things, Con, like I said, when a new coach comes into town, right, and obviously implements a new game plan, obviously, as you just said, there are some really good players that are sitting in the twos, right, because of the style of gameplay you want. But really, in essence, that's evolution, because the club always has to continue to move forward. The additional players, when you looked at bringing players into the club this year. I noticed you recruited from the Essendon district a couple of players this year, right? And they're two very quality players. The names escape me, but are they the sort of players that that you need to bring into the group just to keep rejuvenating and keeping the boys on toe?
Yeah, you're probably referring to Ryan Bathy and Daniel Campusano.
Yeah.
So I'm an Essendon boy, so
Yeah, I had a feeling that.
I'm an Essendon boy that makes the commute. So I was familiar with having watched a bit of that. Football.
One of them actually has played interleague. Was it been in their best interleague side the last 2 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, Daniel Campusano.
Centre half back or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Has he been playing that role here?
He has. I think the key thing for us was to get, in terms of if you're looking at attributes of what we wanted with our recruits,
Yep.
we need a little bit of height. Like Blackburn, I think, has always sort of been that nippy little smaller type body that is great, but in this comp with smaller grounds, you need some key posts. So we wanted to add in some of that, and also to maturity. We've still got a relatively youngish group, so to be able to bring in some guys that have played at a high level again with premiership experience has been able to just really add that maturity to our group, which I think the younger guys have really fed off. So, look, I think we've done pretty well.
And one guy that I've got to talk about, and he's probably he probably really summarises, where Blackburn's heading, is Jake Hammond, a fantastic youngster who's come through the system, fifth in the Chandler Medal last year, and that was an achievement in itself. And I watched the tape last week, and he once again was really, really prominent. He's certainly, his star just continues to rise.
Yeah, he's a good football player. Can we play that one? Yeah, no, he's a good football player. I mean, at the age of 23, and he's been doing it for the last 3 or 4 years now in the Eastern Footy League.
Yeah.
Look, I'm sure he could go to a higher level and play some good footy, but he loves it down at Blackburn, and obviously we love having him at Blackburn.
Bowen defeated last week. What are you expecting?
They'll come to play.
Yeah.
They'll come to play. I've said it a lot of times in the media that those that have spoken to this week, and you guys know the comp better than me, but how many times do you reckon Bowen have lost 2 in a row over the last sort of 5 or 10 years?
Can't remember it.
I can't actually remember when they're sitting 12th on the ladder.
No,
Look
it
at the
doesn't.
beaming smile coming through.
It doesn't happen. But at the same time, too, we're looking to change history. So we're certainly going to come out today and not do anything too different. We want to play our brand of football, and hopefully if they adjust towards that, then that's a win for us, because that means that there's a little bit of respect starting to come our way with how we're playing our brand of football. But we expect them to come to play, and it'll be a 4-quarter game today, hopefully, and we, again, sort of don't hide behind the fact that we are an up-and-coming team, so it's really on us to have to come to play 4 quarters. It's not like, Bourne are going to come and play 2 or 3. They're going to come and really play today and try and get the 4 points. So, our guys have really got to work hard today.
And Con, thanks for your time, but I just wanted to talk about, it is Easter. You're looking forward to Sunday, lamb on the spit roast. Is that what happens at your home?
Well, yeah, it is. So we'll get around as a big group, and it'll be a really big group, that's for sure. We'll get around as a big group on Sunday and hopefully turn off football and just enjoy it. So looking forward to it, and likewise to you guys. Happy Easter.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, and it's great to meet you in
Con.
person. Good luck,
Yes,
Con.
good
Thanks,
luck.
guys. Bye.
Con Caravias, coach of Blackburn, as I turn his mic off there.
One of the things I was really impressed with, I watched the game last week on YouTube, Gav. One of the things that I was really impressed with Blackburn last week is they started well. They kicked down to that end, the far end here, the non-club room end. They kicked 6 or 7 goals. Norwood came back at them in the second half, but they still had another gear and went to that in the third quarter, and they managed to still hold their momentum. And they've matured a little bit with those sort of players to run out 30-odd point winners last week against a Norwood side who we expect to improve again this year. I thought it was a win full of merit.
Do you think it was an 8-point game, Alana?
Look, too hard to tell at the moment, being round one.
It is.
All I'm just thinking at the moment, and from what I've heard last week, and I suppose the path and trajectory that Blackburn are headed, if they don't make finals this year, have they fallen below their par of their expectation and probably of our expectation? And given their success early on, I mean, I know it's only round one. If they match it today, if they win today, and if they don't make finals, have they had what would be considered an unsuccessful season?
I think that's a hard one. I think that it's more that's an internal thing more than an external thing.
Yeah.
I think our viewpoint would be no, it wouldn't be successful. But I think
Well, I suppose anything less than a flag isn't a successful season by anyone's stretch of the imagination.
I suppose it depends on where you're coming from.
You don't play to just make finals, do you? You play to win flags.
Well, there is that's a really difficult one because it depends where you're coming from. Sometimes you can come from a very low base, and if you make finals, that's been a successful year. And then finals is always a separate season. So once you're in finals, then you're playing a different year. That's a different situation. But making it can be. I think Blackburn would be really keen to make it. The thing that's good is that what they've done is that they've looked at their draw and gone, we've got Norwell, we've got Baldwin, we've got one in the bank. And in this competition, games in the bank early on are really, really important. They play a team that's lost. They know they're going to come back hard, but the fact is that they've lost. And so they know that they're not unbeatable. They haven't come out last week. If Baldwin had come out last week and beaten Vermont by 10 goals, Blackburn would be seeing a very different scenario. But today they're going to come out. The conditions are not going to favour either side. I think the Blackburn play their ground extremely well. We've just spoken to two unbelievably magnificent coaches. The way they talk, the way they talk about their clubs, fantastic. So I think we're in for a sensational game of football, really.
And a man who'd be excited if Blackburn did make finals would be the president. Welcome to the EFL Game Day, Matthew Breen.
Thank you, and welcome to Moreton Park.
Yes, you always welcome us out nicely, and it's we always talk about the Red Jackets. It'd be fantastic in September to see you somewhere near Bayswater.
Well, the Red Army, it's a big part of our brand, and we try and push it as much as we can. And if you're at the finals last year, you do see we do tend to take one wing and try to take the whole area and own it. But yeah, that's all part of what Blackburn's about.
And why Good Friday? Why create? Is this going to be a perennial Baldwin versus Blackburn match?
Yes, at this stage it is. It's been something that's been talked about for about 3 or 4 years. And one of the previous presidents, James McLeod, was talking with the AFL about it. And it got knocked back originally, and it just wasn't the right timing. But I think with the AFL now going with a Good Friday game, they felt, well, the AFL sort of approached us and we approached them, and then we sort of said, who's the best club to go with? Well, probably Baldwin being the marquee club of the last 4 or 5 years, we thought that was the way to go. So, here we are.
Manny, I was just going to say, Blackburn love a win, the supporters love a win. I gather we're not going to see the Red Jackets flying around in the air like twirling like we saw with Essendon, are we?
No, we don't go that far. We like to keep things in hand, you might say, and we want people to come to Moreton Park and enjoy their day here, and part of it is, we have a very passionate supporter base, but you do have to make sure that things are kept in hand, and we're the biggest club now in the EFL, biggest supporter base, so when the Burners are up and firing, they're a pretty powerful force on and off the field.
Now, you've segued me into that beautifully. The junior club is phenomenal, with the amount of numbers coming through that are feeding through the seniors. You look at your senior group today, a lot of ex-junior boys. It must make the committee so happy to see so many of the local boys getting the game, representing the Blackburn Footy Club in senior footy.
Well, when I started here 25 years ago, back in '95, there were no juniors. There was a senior side and a reserve team. And it was a second division footy, and it was a good time. It was good fun days back then, and it was the old culture. And footy clubs have changed these days, where there's an expectation that you're providing to the community and all that. And Blackburn's been able to do that with its I think it's now 26 junior side. There's 6 girls teams. We've also got 3 netball teams now, and they're having their little launch night tonight here. So it's sort of, you've got to have that diverse spectrum to provide to the community, and Blackburn does that, and we've put things in place to make sure that happens in the future. So.
Let's have a look at last week, Matty. The first home game of the season's always important for the home side to get a win first up, but as a president, you would have been extremely happy with the way the boys performed last week.
I felt extremely stressed during the game. I was very. I think I lost it there for a little while in the third quarter when I thought we needed to get a bit more further in front. But look, it was important that we start well. Like we didn't have a great year last year with all the we go on all the excuses in the world. But at the end of the day, we didn't. We only had 7 wins. But we had to do something to sort of improve our top 10, and we did that, and they went out to play against a very good side, Norwood. They would have come here expecting to put have a win or be a very good game, and we provided that, and then we went away with the chocolates. But it was a good game, and I think it was one of the more skilled, and it was the first half of some of the best footy I've seen in down Morton Park for a long time. So I'm really looking forward to the year, and today's just another big test, and it will really show where we are.
And what about your role as president? How do you plan? This is an event, really.
Yeah.
It's not just a round 3 in Carna, even though it's second week of.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about the ambiguities of what we call this game, but the planning into today to get this game up on Good Friday.
Well, the actual started probably in June last year. So when we decided that this is where we're going to go, and we'll go for it. And I think, fortunately for us, and to a credit to all the volunteers of Blackburn, Blackburn's got a pretty good reputation with holding, the big games. Anzac Day, we've held the junior finals for a number of years, and we always get a good scorecard from the EFL of that. So I think they went with a club that they've got some confidence in that will do a good job. At the moment, I've got about 40 volunteers out there at the moment running the can bars and the canteen and the gates and all the things that go into it. And to put it in perspective, like Blackburn, when it has its, we have a volunteer dinner, a bit of a thank you dinner before the EFL Grand Final, we get nearly 100 people there. So that's how much it takes to sort of run what I would call very much a community-based club. Everything's volunteer, no one gets paid, and it's all part of the Blackburn spirit, and it's the way we like it to be.
And you can also be thankful of the fact, Manny, that you're not playing whilst the rail works were happening here.
Yes,
that would have been a nightmare.
That was our illustrious, one of the illustrious Paul Mullen, who's ex-council man for himself. He was looking after that with us, and there was a few sleepless nights where we thought they were going to dig up the ground there at one stage. But they've knocked down all our beautiful trees down the back there, and now it was like the wind that was flowing through there last week, which you never used to get because of the trees. And then now, it's not quite as picturesque as it used to be. But,
those boom gates, though, they were the bane of my drive to work.
Right. Well,
I hated them.
Being brought up in Blackie North, I didn't get the boom gates as much, but I think I think there was actually a death there many years ago, which was one of the reasons why all that started to happen. But look, it's for obviously the government want to make sure that there's a bit of safety there, and they probably should have done it 70 years ago, like up in Sydney they did.
Yeah, such a short turnaround the roundabout, but I'll go into in depth of my rage about the situation. But last question, you've got a great coach, I believe a great coach in Con Caravias.
Yeah.
How's he gone second year up now, and what's his future at the club?
Oh, well, Con come to us as a guy that was probably come more from the Ested side, so he probably wasn't well known to us. He knew one of the players quite well who coached him over in Canada, and the player come back, Michael Prendergast was his name, and said, "Oh, look, this guy's really good. Like, some of the structures and planning, it's like, it was really at the AFL level." And obviously, with the new coach coming in, we knew the first year was going to be pretty much, let's just see how the list lies. We went with a bit of a plan of just keep what we have, see how we go. Unfortunately, we lost a couple of key players early. We weren't expecting to probably play finals, probably around that 9-10 wins. We fell a bit short with that. But at the end of the day, what we learnt from that year really helped Con and his match committee really focus on this year. And like his dedication and planning, and he's been a fantastic get for us, and very likeable guy. He's brought some really good assistant coaches along as well, and we've got good depth at Blackburn, and we have for a while now. And so, as you said, we've got a good junior contingent, which is something we want to really start showing. And you'll find it in every newsletter I send out. I always whack a bit about the juniors in there to make sure that they're recognised, that this is the way it's heading with point systems and salary caps. That clubs can't just keep bringing in stars. They've got to balance, and 47 points. It's starting to make a bit of an impact on.
You just can't afford to have too many 6-pointers on the list.
No. You've got to manage. Then you've got to exchange them for 1 point. They're all going to be out for one point in, and it's sort of and it just adds that little bit of complexity to it.
It's like playing chess, isn't it, mate?
It is, and and the salary caps. I think there's a misconception. A lot of people think the salary cap's all about just levelling the playing field. It's for sustainability of footy clubs.
Exactly.
And as I said, they're so important to structures of communities around around Victoria that all the states that play heavy in footy that these clubs can survive and they're not getting blown away by big wage blowouts with match payments. So it's a great thing. It's going to take a little while to settle down, but I think we'll look at it in 3 or 4 years' time as the best thing AFL Victoria did.
I think all clubs will benefit from it, Matty.
Yeah.
So
Different premiers, that's what we need. Could be
well,
exciting.
yeah, look, it's good. It's sort of when I was growing up, I was an ex-Vermont boy, and I played my junior footy there, and oh God, I think they won 4 years in a row and didn't lose a game, and I thought, geez, this is going to happen. And then, I think then the Lawns and Oval Parks and other clubs come into it, and then now it's sort of a lot even. So it's all good, and hopefully Blackburn can be one of those clubs.
Yeah, maybe. Well, we'll see where they're at today, and thanks for your time, Matthew
Looking
Breen.
forward to it. All the best, guys.
Thanks, Brody.
So that was the president of Blackburn joining us. He's a fantastic host, and
He was talking about pulling his hair out in the third quarter game. I don't reckon he had any to
where
pull
was he
out.
getting it from?
But like I said, though, I mean, look, I can understand how he was feeling last week because they really were challenged in that third quarter, but they actually have matured a little bit because to come away with a 5-goal win, right, is a good victory first up in the season.
And someone who's joined us over recent years, he's been a great contributor. Everyone knows him around the Eastern Footy League as the president of Baldwin. Thanks for joining us again, Richard Wilson.
Good, thank you. Lovely to be here.
Yeah, it's a transition period for Baldwin. The obvious one is the coach transition, and it's an adjustment in the competition on how you manage the club. But firstly, talking about the transition from Dan Donati to Marty Pask.
No, it's gone pretty well. Marty's going to take some time to understand the comp and the standard and the players and what the teams do. So it's a bit of a learning curve for him. But he had a good pre-season. We know we've filled most of the players together. We've put some new players into the list, and it's a step up for him. It's very similar to when Donati at his first coaching gig in 2012. Really, you've got to go through them. I think these days to get coaches in community football to last more than 3 or 4 years is it's about where they land. So we went through with Harford, and so we know what goes on. But the list is a pretty strong list. They're experienced. They can like on the field they know what they're doing.
So what excites you about every year Baldwin turns over? It's just the nature of the beast, Division 1 football. You see 5 to 6 players turn over at least every time. What excites you about the list 2017?
Look, it's always good to get some new guys in, and look, to have the Simpkins now playing and Farron is great inclusions. To see a couple of the younger guys coming through, and you'll see one Sam Vanderhart today, and we get Sammy de Souza back, who did his knee against Norwood last year, and so it's good to see those ones going okay and getting a run. But for us, it's to be honest, it's probably business as usual. We just got to. The trick for us is the boys are going to keep themselves up and get going, motivated. They've all had success. It's a tough comp. I think this year will be tougher, more across the board than previous years, I suspect. So it's a long season.
When we look at Baldwin, Richard, mentally Baldwin are one of the toughest clubs in AFL in the last 5 years, and you've proven, and by winning so many premierships, just coming up against Vermont last weekend, do you reckon the guys were just mentally off a tad in that opening half?
Look, our practice game before against Noble was a disaster.
But you wouldn't have had your best side on the park.
No, we didn't. It wasn't great. And the first quarter they got the win, and we turned it over, and they got 3 early, and they got away.
Yeah.
They were terrific in the first half. But I thought after half time, we steadied, and our guys started to find their feet a bit, and that was important.
And one of those guys, when you were talking about Farron Ray and the 2 Simpkin boys, I thought in that third quarter, all those 3 were just feeling themselves in that first half, but I thought Jonathan Simpkin in the third quarter, I think I counted 9 kicks and about 6 handballs. I think he touched the ball 15 times, but they found a player to advantage, just weren't as so he worked into the game nicely. They just couldn't take advantage of all his good work down the field.
Yeah, forward line's a little bit. We're not quite.
No, not
we're
the
not
moment.
quite right there. But look, it's round 1.
Yep.
We got the game today.
You don't want to be peaking yet.
Well, we've just got to make sure we don't want to be zipping 2. Like the Swans are zipping 4. That's not ideal.
No.
So we got to get some business done. But no, look, those guys, and we've been through this over the years. You know, it takes adjustment. In smaller grounds, it's more tougher in close. You don't get the space and the time.
No.
You know, so that's just an adjustment for them and getting used to how the competition's played.
And what about Good Friday football? Have you, in principle, agreed to be the visiting club, or is it going to go around to you next year? How's it going to work going forward?
So look, we'll get the return match, you know, and now Easter's, you know, end of March next year. It's early, so that may be too early for the season, or it may be a one-off. But yeah, we've done a 2-year arrangement. It's here this year, and it'll be a ball when the next time it comes around in the fixture. And then after that, I think you know, we'll have a look and see what we do. And I personally, I think other clubs may want to do it, and I think they probably have the opportunity to do that. I don't think we own it.
Do you think they're sniffing around going, is this successful? Is that what you think is going to be happening with Division 1 for other clubs? They want to see you test the water, so to speak?
Well, we did the Queen's birthday, and then the interludes come in, and let's fix that up. So all our forward thinking and planning gets scuttled. So. But I think the Good Friday game is, you know, look, it's unique, and it's a unique day, you know, really in the calendar. So other clubs, I think, if they want to have a look at it and down the track, then I think that would be good. That would be a good thing, I think.
Yeah, well, I look forward to it. It's great. Everyone has their different things they want to do on Good Friday, so having football part of the bargain is just perfect for me.
Yeah, look, it is, and look, hopefully there's a good crowd. The rain, pity it wasn't yesterday. Weather-wise, but I think it's a big crowd, and you know, it's sort of that's what it's designed to do, is to get people to come and when they've got nothing to do today, go and.
Especially if they can't afford to go away.
Well, it's only $8 here, $2 for a record. Buy a burger. They probably inflated the prices here at Blackburn for the burgers. the burning burgers.
Public holiday pricing.
That's right.
Well, no doubt we'll see you back on the winning track soon, and it'll be.
They want it today, though.
Yeah, well, what do you think about today? Final question. Do you see a better performance guaranteed? How's it going?
Oh yeah, no, we'll be up and about today. You know, we'll be moving through. We train really well, and the boys. You know, I'll give you a stat, which is look, again, it's not helpful for Paskey, but say in Daniel's reign in the whole 5 years, we never lost 2 games in a row.
Okay. When was the last time, do you know?
Long
in
time
the club?
ago. Long
Can
time.
you actually remember the last time Bolton was sitting 12th on the ladder?
Look at the. Are you hearing the grin?
I said to Kevin Muscat after round 2 in the Melbourne City beat us 4-0. I said to him, mate, it's only round 2, not 22, mate. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. But you don't want to lose those sort of games.
And we don't like losing here. And I don't know if you know the story when Hartford was out here on the half forward fact those years ago, and the Burners are absolutely climbing into him. And he's kicked it from the line there, 40 metres in. He's kicked the goal, and he's gone around and given him a very friendly wave.
Oh, yes.
and one of the women said, "You're no good, number 5." And he turned around and said to her, "You know who I am."
Yes, very good.
Very good memories here at Blackburn Lane.
Well, you know you love to be hated, but it's all in good jest.
It's all good fun.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks again for giving us your time,
Very
Richard.
good, boys. Good, happy calling.
Thanks,
We
Richard.
do. Richard Wilson, always generous with his time and comments.
Yeah.
He's, you know, not necessarily to say he's an open book, but he does get along with the passion of the game, and that's what you want out of a president. You don't want a shrinking violet. You want someone who gives energy to their club.
Well, especially the head of the club. The president is the number 1 honcho, Davo, and he's got to sell the message to the club every year.
He's sold it pretty well over the last couple of years, hasn't he?
He hasn't had any problems about that.
He's a character in himself, so you know, it's great for football, great for ball, and certainly great for the league to have him in charge. And he's I would think he would be a very, very angry man if they were a 0-2 at the end of today.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
Yeah, well, we've had a good run at it. It's our first Good Friday day in the Eastern Footy League, and I've enjoyed the pre-match. It's great to have Blackburn and Baldwin game to come to us after 2 p.m. We'll take a break and keep it locked on 98.1 because the Eastern Footy is going to be big today.
Hey, man.
Yeah, man.
Hope we win this weekend.
I hope we win too. Because I want to kick some weekend goals at Pancake Parlour after the game.
Because if your AFL team wins, you can go in and get a free sweet pancake with any savoury menu item purchase.
Oh, free pancake. First your team wins and then your belly wins.
It's win-win, man.
Claim your free sweet pancake with any savoury item purchase just by showing your winning team's colours.
Or your team membership.
At any Pancake Parlour this weekend.
Oh, and don't forget, check out Facebook for this week's offer.
Lovely.
Program sponsor.
Up the Mitcham Tigers!
Ah, the Burners.
Let's go, Panthers.
What a mark! Let's go, doggies.
Tobin Brothers Funerals, serving all supporters in the Eastern Football League since 1934. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Program sponsor.
A new time and a new team, driving you home in 2016. Join a brand new lineup for The Huddle as the gang take a light-hearted look at the Eastern Football League every Friday night. More importantly, the team will reveal the ins and outs for this week's round of matches. The Huddle, 4:30 to 6:30 every Friday evening. You love it local. EFL.org.au is the place to be online for all the latest on the Eastern Football League. Keep up to date by checking out the latest news and feature articles. Have your say in the EFL poll. Check out all the latest EFL videos, and best of all, you can listen back to any EFL radio program at any time. Head to EFL.org.au. The Eastern Football League. Local footy at its best.
Dave and his mates are flying to the Gold Coast to watch their team play the Suns. Do they B, pay too much for a taxi, C, hope for an airport rail link this century, or D, get a lift from a mate and hope for the best when they fly home?
What about A, for A1 Airport Parking?
At A1 Airport Parking, get 2 days for $25, 3 days for $34, or get 7 days parking for just $69. And at just 5 minutes from the airport, they'll get you there in time for your flight and pick you up when you get home. Show your footy or sporting club membership anytime you park and get 10% off. A1airportparking.com.au.
Real people, real stories.
Whether I'm driving the morning coach service or whether I'm actually doing the transfer from the family home is very rewarding.
It's heavy lifting, it's emotional, it's uplifting, it's rewarding, and it's a vocation. It's not a job, and I love it.
Watch the A Day in the Life video series now at tobinbrothersfunerals.com.au for an insight into the specialised work they do. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating 80 years of service.
Program sponsor.
Nothing better than a companion to keep you up to date with all the latest when you're at the footy. Better still, one that fits in your back pocket. The Eastern Footballer is a must-read. All the latest information, team lists, feature articles and much, much more. Pick up your copy this weekend as you love it local across the Eastern Football League.
Welcome back to Moreton Park, Blackburn, Division 1 football in the Eastern Footy League. You're tuned to 98.1. Gavin Casey will be joined by Josh Dorr in the commentary, reintroducing our special commentators, Brett Davidson and Wayne Brasher. On the boundary will be Alana Coleman. It's an exciting time in the afternoon. The reserves is finished. I didn't write down the scores. I was not diligent in my time off the air, I'm sorry. But of course, Blackburn had a big lead and won the reserves, and they're making a guard of honour for the senior players who are just about to get on the ground before we start Good Friday football EFL style. We'll get our first comments from us, co-commentator, my co-commentator, Josh Dorr. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you, Gavin. Great to be back on the airwaves for 98.1 FM once again for 2017, and what a game we've got out here today. Blackburn ball, and just got a special feeling about this one for the Panthers. It's a good time to pounce early. 2-0 is prospective, but once again, we don't see this ball inside drop 2 games in a row often. A new coach, a few new faces at the helm. So definitely looking forward to this one. The sun's kind of just peeking out at the moment. We had a fair bit of rain earlier on, so there'll definitely be some damp conditions at foot, but looking forward to a pretty high-scored contest.
As the umpires come on, they've raised the ball aloft, but I didn't hear a siren, so that's a good... Sometimes the siren just gets in your ear so badly when you're in a grandstand, so I'm glad for that not to happen. Brett and Brash, let's talk about maybe the game in detail, some opinion on what you think might happen, and tip by the end if you could.
Well, look, I've looked at the Blackburn side. I think one of the things that I've noticed is that they are young. They've got some real talent. Their top end has really lifted up. I think they've brought their top end talent in. The thing that probably worries me a little bit is that they're quite inexperienced in a number of areas. They've brought players in that, as Con said, they play the system really, really well, but they are still very, very experienced players. And, when you look at, I think it's, the new players, they've got new... Camposano and Bathy and Socio, all good footballers, really talented players. But then you've got Watkins, Hudson, Kenworthy, McIntyre and Banks, all very inexperienced players. Now, you then look at the Baldwin side. Yes, they've lost Wright, Kennedy, Milhusen, Gordon and Crow, but then you have a look at who they brought back in. They brought in some real talent, and they've still got the remnants of that very, very talented group of players that can play in a range of positions. So for me, I can't see Baldwin losing 2 in a row. I think they'll win it, but I think it's going to be an excellent game of football. And Blackburn, as we said before, play their ground very, very well, and it's not an easy ground to play.
No, and you're right, Dave. And the fact that these two perennially play very close games, I just think that the experienced players of Baldwin last week and the newcomers, Ray and the 2 Simpkin boys, I think they'll acclimatise a lot better today, and I expect them to really up the ante a little bit today. Jeff Goebbels last week was extremely quiet. I think he only touched the ball a couple of times. Had to play sort of a loose man in back when Vermont were attacking. I expect him to get on the scoring board today. I just think that overall, Baldwin will be smarting from last week's loss. And I expect they were mentally off, I reckon, in that first quarter. And that set the tone for the rest of the day. Expect them to be switched on. Wouldn't terribly surprise me if they really come out and come to play.
And when you think about it, people talk about hard contested ball. They've got some of the hardest contested ball players in the competition, and even their lighter players, the Gilchrist. When they are on song, they are as tough at it. I remember the grand final last year. The first 10 minutes of the game, just their tackling pressure was just enormous. So,
and that was what was off last week, Dave.
Yeah, so that's something that I would expect. That just doesn't matter who's coaching them. It's their pride in their own performance, and they've got enough players there to know, we didn't play well, and to Vermont's credit, they did, and they took advantage of that, and they got the win. So now they're going to come out and play some big-time football on this ground. I think the other thing to look at is maybe their change up in their forward line, Baldwin. They've got a couple that aren't there. Broadhurst not there, Barker not there.
No.
So they're going to have a little bit of a different structure in their forward line. That will impact a little bit at the way they play this ground.
Yep, most definitely.
They like to have that outside run, bring the players up. One of their key forwards drops back. They always have that 1 and 2 position player, goal square centre forward that they've got open to, and they've got such good marking options down there. That changes a little bit this time, so that could fall into Blackburn's favour just a fraction.
Yeah, so Brash, we'll come back to you. We might get some tips from you two.
Look, I'd love to say, I really would like to see Blackburn. I think they'll make a real game of it, but I just think Baldwin, I just think that, like I said, they'll be breathing fire, mate.
So, David, you both agree?
I'm going Baldwin. I'm going to say 3 goals or 15.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a blowout at all. I agree with Dave. I don't think it'll be a blowout.
Okay. Big call. We like that, though, putting something big on the line. Personally, I think this is just Blackburn's day.
Yeah.
We look at last week's start, was electric against Norwood, and against a pretty strong backline. They kicked 8 goals to 1 or none, I think. Bourne on the flip side was slow to start, and that's probably going to be Marty Pask's big message today, to start on fire. They coughed up 5 goals and pretty sloppy against a Vermont side, just carved them up by hand. Jake Hammond, he's the big one for me. He's a super talent. He had a great year last year. I think he kicked 50 goals or just around that mark. He started last week with 6. He's now one of the premier forwards in this division, no doubt about that. I think the Panthers are going to get up by 10. I think there's a good little feeling around this. They've been pining for this Good Friday clash for a while, and I think it's theirs to own.
And what we know about footy is it's above the shoulders a lot. Previous week could count for little. In matter of fact, the the opponent that Blackburn play might not be nearly as good as Vermont. So the loss to Vermont by Baldwin might not be so significant to say that they're playing bad football. But there is a logic that says Baldwin don't lose 2 in a row, so you should stick to that. But I'm not that logical when it comes to football.
I've never known you to be logical at all, Gavin.
Well, logical in my own patterns of explanation. I actually fancy Blackburn. This is the time of year you want to be playing ball. When Marty Pask, 2 games in, the players might not understand the game plan. The change from Dan Donati might be bigger than we give credit for. Well, obviously, they're talented, but structure is everything in football, modern football. Maintaining a structure and playing to a system is the responsibility of the coach. And if his communication hasn't yet totally been imparted on the playing group, then they might be vulnerable early in this footy season. Down the track, I think they'll be all good. Of course they will. But I think
that's well put, Gav. That's a very good counter argument you've just put there. I like that. 2 and 2 here, Davo.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a special comments, guys, against the callers today. One thing though, just harking back to what both you and Josh have said, Gav, is the fact that last week, as I said, the one thing that Blackburn can really hold their hat on was the fact that they were challenged in that third quarter when Norwood came back at them in that second quarter after opening that 7-goal lead, but they still had enough quality to win the game running away by 5 goals. To me, that's a sign of maturity amongst such a young group.
Now, I'm not sure if we're going to use the effects mics, Bruce, to get the outside effects of what is a short speech from Blackburn before potentially the national anthem, as both teams stand in a guard of arms, lining up against each other, looking across from each other before the battle comes. So we've still got a speaker on the mic, so...
Yeah, we can't afford dead air, mate.
No, well, that's why I'm rambling. But if we do get the national anthem, I'd probably like to pay it some respect. But we can, I think we'll keep with ourselves for the moment.
Yeah, we will.
Well, so I think one of the other things, I just looked at the two sides. The thing about Blackburn last year is they lacked tools.
Yep.
They didn't have the tools. When you look at them out there at the moment, they've certainly gained their tools.
Yeah, look at Baffy, 39.
He's a big boy, isn't he?
He is a big boy, and he played basically a forward role last week, Davo, and also he handled all the ruck duels in the forward line, so that sort of frees up their main ruckman around the ground.
We believe it's going to be a great game between these two terrific clubs. And the thing about Good Friday is that actually
I'm not sure we're picking anything up there.
I don't think we are.
Taking our eyes off ourselves,
keep going.
Others, and we see that that's what Blackburn Football Club do, and looking at each other. The EFL do it as well, and we really believe that today is a reflection of what Good Friday's about. We see two teams not just focusing on themselves, but focusing on each other, their teammates. For each of you here today, and we really hope that this is the day we will able to just continue from this day onwards to care for each other, particularly those that are doing it tough in our clubs and in our communities. All the best to each of you. Thank you.
Well done.
Thanks very much, Major Brennan. You see the Salvation Army buckets
just
around
a
today.
preamble to Division 1 football, and yes, there is a big crowd here. Blackburn take the wing closest to our broadcast. That they own it, and Baldwin, they'll find whatever position they can, probably on the outskirts of the other side. So every time Blackburn kick a goal, it'd be a cauldron of sound. In local footy, Davo, have you experienced home ground advantage as good as you can get here, or?
It's actually pretty good. I mean, the Vermont of old, before they built the new stand, that used to be pretty good too. And I can still remember, and I am very, very old, I can still remember Mitcham at Mitcham before they had the ground done up. There used to be a fair old crowd there that used to get a bit vocal. Ferntree Gully at Ferntree Gully gets a bit wild as well.
Especially the Derby, Davo, in years.
So there's there's a few grounds, but yeah, it's a great atmosphere here at Blackburn, really good. And because there's not much room between the fairly expansive rooms and the fence.
And with Easter being in March, as Richard Wilson told us next year, I hope that tradition continues and they just play on Good Friday every year, and 1-2 clubs bring their season forward, because this is what this football is about, getting the local community to the game.
Yeah, look, I suppose it comes down to a lot of situations. One of them could be cricket. If the grounds aren't available. But we've just heard the national anthem, and it's great when they see two sides standing up at the end of it, and they get out and they're ready for battle. And certainly it looks to me that both sides are certainly ready for that battle. And Balwyn broke away very quickly, got together as a group, and Blackburn have done the same. And I find it interesting. I look at the teams, and you look at Balwyn, and whether it's their jumper, do they buy them a size too small? But they always look like they're ripped, don't they? They always look at, and Blackburn and a few boys got their jumpers outside. It's like a traditional football side against a team that's come in from,
They wear the tiger balm. They've got the glistening
Just a couple of smooth operators that just like really getting those tight. And it's about the tackling as well, Dave. You don't want anyone to be grabbing on, and there's some silky smooth operators. And they will be looking to evade a couple of the big runners.
Does anyone ever tuck their jumper in anymore?
I don't think so. I think we're long past that. We're long past that, and even long socks now as well. It's becoming a thing of the past.
I reckon one of not only what's going to happen on the ground, but I actually reckon, Dovo, it's going to be a really good contest between the two coaches today too.
Yes.
Still relatively inexperienced at the EFL level, even though Con's had 1 year experience. But I'll be just really interested to see how both clubs, or both coaches, I should say, use the bench today.
Now look, and one of the lucky thing with Marty is he's got such an experienced group. So, in some cases, players can coach themselves.
Yep.
And really, once the ball is bounced, all you're doing is looking at, in some cases, opposition and what they're doing and what tweaks you can make. The days of the coach making the unbelievable move that changes a game are just about gone, because we don't play football that way anymore. We don't have the full forward that goes to full back and kick six. So it's a bit of a chess game. They will look at matchups. They will look at how they use the ball on the ground. Are they going to be able to spread the way they want to do? Are they going to come through the middle and take that risk? All those little things are the interesting things, as well as how are they going to match up on each other's, I suppose, gun players, if you want to call it that way.
And if you're watching the live stream on efl.org.au, you'll, from left to right on your screen, the left is the scoreboard end, the right will be referred to as the Central Road end. And we are at Moreton Park, Blackburn, for Division 1 football, round 3. Only one game has been played so far this year, but they've brought forward this game, and Blackburn correspondingly will play on Anzac Day, so they're all over the shop in terms of where we're at the now. But it's brilliant. Sunshine is peeping through, the clouds are opening up. I'm looking forward to this game. There is the siren to get this game underway. Ball up has gone in the middle of Moreton Park. The tap's won by Blackburn, but the first clearance is won by Cross. An up and under kick has gone to his teammate, and they're off through the centre forward now of the Tigers. It's in the hands of Fraser at centre forward. He's just inside his own centre square position, and he's going to test the journey.
Yeah, well, it's a long way down there, but interesting move. Bathy to full forward on Pendlebury is an interesting move. Watkins into the forward pocket.
Touch from the man of the mark, or was it touched and just a floater? It wasn't touched, it was just a floating kick. 20 metres out, and as always, all forwards read it better, and De Souza, who was man in front, and the only one not guessing where the ball would drop, and he took the mark 20 metres out. So ball went off to a flyer here. That's if the kick goes straight through the middle and hits my car parked on Central Road, and he doesn't miss. De Souza gets the first score within the first minute. It's Blackburn yet to score. Balwyn, one straight kick, 6 points on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard.
And you can see already that when the ball went down to the forward line of Balwyn, that Blackburn played an 18-man press down to the ground, which was really interesting the way they played this game. So they're definitely looking at Blackburn pushing up high, creating a lot of stoppage, and then running that ball out. It's very open in that situation. But yeah, some interesting matchups there already. Hammond playing on our forward flank is also an interesting one. It's like dual centre forwards that are playing behind the line.
Yep.
So first goal for Ball, an important start after a goalless first term last week. We're back in the guts at Moreton Park. Tossed up. Meeson's going to win this one, and Baldwin going to try and force it through Simpkin. Cross got the kick out. Strong mark taken there, and there's Jonathan Simpkin. So impressive signs. He Stands her at centre forward, looks to give and go. Now drops on the left, poor decision. Compton has it now. Told to play, I'm going to switch it out wide. Looks like Otten it might be. Drives it long inside 50. Good one-on-one battle now. At the front there was Windle. Couldn't quite bring it down. In fact, it's Bathy. Strong tackle by Pendlebury. That matchup that Davo mentioned earlier. He's not going anywhere. Locked him up to Pendlebury on the outer side wing. About 50 from home.
You're going to have to watch that one with Simpkin, that little duck around to the left foot. He did that really well a moment ago, just didn't connect well.
So tossed up again. Free kick's going to go the way of Mason here. Banks just forced his way through. Mason straight away looking for the handball. Gets it off and switches on nicely now to Tregear. Takes it in the opposite pocket just in front of his broadcast side. Nice little chipping kick. Finds Fraser. He goes short again to Gilchrist. Back in board. Finds it back with Tregear. This is just across centre half back for ball and chipping a squeezing little ball. Nice hands by Jonathan Simpkin. Was marked pretty tightly. Just going to be slow build up. His kick's poor. Hammond, as we said, is pushed up. He takes the mark around the wing. Now goes inside to Bathy. Good spoil from Pendlebury again. Followed up work, probably a free kick. Blackburn still in possession. Flying kick off the side of the boot by McCauley. Right in front of the grandstand here at Blackburn on the full.
A couple of uncharacteristic turnovers there from a quality player there. Just a bit of nerves there, Davo.
I think also, if you look at it, they've put a very, very good defensive line up there, Blackburn. Nearly 12 across they had there. It's a bit of to do out on the wing here, which is interesting at the start.
Well, Jonathan Simpkin took that out on the full kick, and he's looked at all the red jackets, and he had a wry grin. He goes, I know I stuffed up. And he got a short pass to Fraser, who spilled it, and it's gone to ground. So they've gone to the last line, have ball, and defending with ball in hand, though. Mason pushes off his opponent, but spills the mark just as it drops to his chest. And the ball eventually gets knocked over. Half forward line for Blackburn. And as they trail 4 minutes in by the 1 goal to De Soysa. And we've got a Joel Smith lookalike for ball, and it's a bit of retrospective for me. Did with that long hair at ground level, but it's with the man bun, made popular by many an AFL player who sees Churgwin, who sees it over the line. And there's Sean Cross has been such a great player last year.
Yeah, and going into the middle's a really interesting move for him too. He's been on that wing for a while. I think he'll really enjoy that.
Ball goes bouncing in from another boundary throw in inside Blackburn's 50, but they can't take control of the ball. This is where Baldwin are good. They soak up the pressure. Once they get possession, they try to hold it, but they're yet to be 100% on efficiency, so that's where it's falling down for them. Meeson at good body vision wins the tap, but it goes to the Burners. So the hand passes flow out to Compton. His kick's smothered, and now it's a contest for the ball. The tackles are flying in. Cross comes in over the top, applying a tackle, and it's held up 40 metres out in the pocket here at Moreton Park. Very close to us. The scoreboard's on the opposite pocket, and the umpire's just trying to settle the game down, slowing it down a bit. Cross is at ground level, but he lets his teammate come in. Flying in there again was Hudson for Blackburn. He's getting amongst it, but he's been tackled as soon as he grabbed it, and well done by Tregear.
This game plan at the moment is playing right into Blackburn's game. Hands here, Davo.
Yeah, well, they're playing a man behind, 2 men behind the contest as well, Blackburn, just to create that situation that they're giving all on the short, won't allow them the long. So they're just playing around with the football at the moment, trying to work out a system of getting through.
Banks is about half a foot smaller than Meeson, but he comes the tackler at ground level on Gilchrist as he was trying to run out of his defensive zone. There's Cross again, working hands to a outboard defender. The kick is going to come back for Blackburn, running in an open goal through the traffic and just missing to the left. A flying shot there by McCauley, who didn't see any traffic. He just went through like he was a ship passing in the night, but he missed the kick by a millimetre.
So Gilchrist now off the kick out, finds himself in a bit of space, goes right up the guts. It's a brilliant kick to Shivers. Now he's got runners in support, just goes back behind the mark, long into inside 50. Flyer at the back was De Soysa, claimed the mark, but great defensive pressure, I think.
He probably
might have been Danaher, no, Dunn it was, sorry, Davo.
He held it for an extra 2 seconds or so and allowed the Blackburn player to get back onto a 2-on-1 then. He got it moving a bit quicker, it would have been a 1-on-1, could have been a good move.
Now, I think he might have pulled a free kick here. He has, out of this ruck contest. Push. So Shivers is actually going to get a chance to make up for a bit of tardiness through the middle. That ball is probably just on 40 metres, I'd say. It's a tight-ish angle, 45 degrees, not beyond him.
He had a really good game last week, Chivers. He kicked 2 last week, but he's looking a lot fitter this season than what he did last year.
So in he comes, Chivers. Had a really solid finish to last year as well. That kick's fading right. I think it might have just snuck in. It has. So Baldwin 2 and Blackburn yet to score. Impressive start by the Tigers. 2 straight 12. Blackburn just the single behind. And Glenn Chivers, as you said there, Dave, was a bit slow to go through the guts, but made up his work and puts that big body behind the ball. He's going to win free kicks like that often.
And straight away you could see, couldn't you? They get it. They want to get it in there quickly. They want to get it in there long. And they just got caught down here in Blackburn's forward half, trying to chip the ball around, working out how to get it through. But once they got it through, pretty quick. So Blackburn will be quick on the transition.
Meeson might be the dominant ruckman on the ground, and this could be a big factor come the duration of the game. Meeson again wins the tap. Blackburn alert to the scouting off his hand, and the ball actually propelled forward towards Blackburn's goal, but not in any great fashion. And there's going to be a ball up at centre forward for Blackburn, who look to get there first on the board. Banks goes a running time, but he still can't beat the standing Meeson. At ground level, it's picked up, and Conker just puts it to the goal square. It's too close to the line, and the defenders come in and save the day for Baldwin and knock it over for a rush behind. That is the second one for Blackburn as they trail by 10. 8.5 minutes gone, first term.
I haven't heard a few of Blackburn's new recruits, Murphy and Socho, yet to get on the ball as Weatherall takes this kick out, and coming in over the top, the really strong spoil there was Adam Banks for the Panthers.
Good sign with Conker before, the way he was able to extract that ball from the contest, wasn't it?
He's superb, Luke Conker, and he's back in this throw-in again.
Did it surprise you how far he kicked it?
Just in front of the canteen at Blackburn, and it's going to find its way back across the boundary line. Cross down there for the first time. Alana Coleman is down there.
Down here, boys, there's a lot of stuff happening off the ball that the umpire should probably have a bit of a look at and take a bit of control of, otherwise it's going to get messy.
Just keep yourself safe out there, Alana. It has been a fiery start as Chivers tap, going to find the boundary line yet again. Good attack by Conker, though, just couldn't quite keep it in.
It's not a war zone, Josh.
I actually think, Davo, that if Blackburn can break even in the ruck and hopefully hold Meeson's superiority around the ground, it'll probably help them throughout the whole of the contest.
Yeah, because he's certainly a big lad.
Banks won that tap, but cross-sharked it nicely. He got the flick handball out to Trickier. He's been active early. Big bombing kick up towards the wing. Numbers with Baldwin at ground level now. There's that man Chivers again. A great tackle applied by Macaulay. This is a hot footy. It's right on the boundary line. I think it might just go over. It has, right on the wing. And once again, a bit of push and shove as that ball comes up. Glenn Chivers not quite happy with the treatment he received off the ball there. Umpire just going to throw it in and get the play back underway. Rennie Watts jumps in the ruck and wins his first tap early. Simpkin tried getting a handball out. No can do. Danaher busting through. Strong effort there. And then the numbers are once again with Bain, with Baldwin. His kick, though, was turned over. And now Blackburn have a chance to repel. Risky kick through the middle, and Pendlebury takes it and takes off as well. Burns past one, looks for the short little kick to Goebbels. Didn't quite come off nicely. Blackburn have the numbers. Otten with Camposano. Now finds its way out to Clay. Kick towards centre half forward, another poor one. Hammond attacks hard now. Thorpe now got a chance now with Hudson if he can attack it. Great work, Shane Tregear. Cleared it of defensive 50, but Pat Cotton has all the time in the world to go back inside. Grubber of a kick finds McIntyre in space. It's a hot footy. Blackburn pressing, but Baldwin defending well, and a strong tackle coming in over the top. I think it might have been Vanderhaar. Bain as well for Baldwin, making sure that ball wasn't going anywhere.
I reckon they blew an opportunity there, Blackburn, Davo. They had plenty numbers around the ball, just didn't cleanly handle it.
Tell you what, there's intent with Baldwin at the moment, isn't there?
Still right on top of the 50 is this ball. Bain probably deserved a free kick for Baldwin for some high contact. Not to be, and it's going to be another ball up.
Well, that was where they were out-muscled last week in the tackling, Davo, so they definitely are out to send a message this afternoon.
Thrown up again. Blackburn looking for their first goal. A clear winner in that ruck tap. Watts pushed out Banks, and the ball finds the deck and jumped on top.
I'm going to love the contest between Pendlebury and Bathy. Bathy's defensive work was great then when Pendlebury was loose, but Pendlebury will take the risk and go forward.
Banks with that tap down to Murphy, couldn't be clean, and it ends in the hands of Jonathan Simpkin. Now a chance for Baldwin if they can pick it up cleanly. It's that man Shergwin, but it's a strong tackle once again by Chris Banks.
That was a very speculative handball there by Simpkin there.
It's been a hot footy over the last 4 minutes just across the Blackburn half-forward line. It's just closer to the wing, and Watts' tap will push it further there, but Compton and Danaher, once again, though, strong tackle. The umpire quick to move, and now Baldwin can try and break. O'Regan dragged down. Otten, Blackburn just clearing up now. Compton across half-back, switches out, and they've got a number on. It's Anthony Fagan in lots of space. Jackson Weatherall chases him down. He gets his kick inside 50. Bathy flies and marks, probably too far out to score. He's going to go back. Just a nice little overlap ball, but once again, a turnover from Baldwin, and Blackburn were able to use their skills, probably for the first time, well attacking, and they've got a chance with Ryan Bathy. He's right on the boundary line, far side of the ground.
It's a really good matchup, this one, Josh. Really good matchup between him and Pendlebury.
He'll kick from the paint of, it's about 45. It's on the way, it looks good. I think it's off the line though, off to the right, and through for a minor score. So Blackburn 3 behind, Baldwin 2 straight 12, 13 minutes gone. And we've definitely got a hot and feisty contest for you here out at Moreton Park for Good Friday football on Radio Eastern 98.1.
Marty Pask could be really disappointed with the way that the Baldwin defensive group broke down there to allow such an easy transition out of defence for Blackburn.
Jackson Weatherall with the kick-out duties gets it to Gilchrist, and Rennie does a short, very short to Taylor. So the Gilchrist, as they like to do, whacks off the half-back line, and Taylor puts it out to the left, and Tomskin, no, sorry, my bad. That's Jackson Weatherall running from full-back to take it on the outer wing. And another short pass. So this is what Baldwin do. They keep it in hand, and they're prepared to have the short passes until they see the opening, and then they put the jets on. Now the switch goes and finds Goodleapson. Fine player for Baldwin. Kicks it down the wing. Nice chop off by Fagan, but he only gets it to the ground where Baldwin have the Rovers, and the defence rush in for Blackburn to hold it up at half forward. The hand pass comes back out to Cross, who gets it inboard to centre forward. One arm flyer for the Tigers means that Blackburn are good to mop up. And the defence again holds up through Goodleapson. He's quick to play on. They're trying to get it through Gilchrist in the middle. He hand passes into congestion in the middle of the ground, and now the tackle comes in, and Baldwin are happy to hold it up in the centre corridor. Risk and reward, and there was no reward there.
No, it's a bit of risk, but I think that's the pressure that Blackburn have put on with their zone. Yep. I think that's the pressure they're putting on.
Bathy doing some rucking. This time he's going against Campasano. Blackburn are winning the clearances, but it's Baldwin mopping up as always. This time it's Chris Pendlebury getting it over to Ray. Farron Ray, ex-AFL star with the Bulldogs and St Kilda. He doesn't have a kick finding a teammate, and Blackburn will load up from half back. Just getting it as long as they could, but they've got a free whistle, and it's a free kick downfield. A late hit on the kicker. That was ill-disciplined because, again, Baldwin had the proper numbers waiting for the kick in. So it's Blackburn assessing the options.
Seems to be a distinct lack of forward pressure from the Baldwin forward line to keep the ball in their forward 50 at the moment, Toby.
Yeah, I think that's because Blackburn are just pushing numbers back the whole time.
And a bit of inexperience.
Mitch Thorpe from outside 50, kicked 22 goals last year, puts it to goal square, rolling on the back. There are 6 Tigers, but it's Fagan at ground level, had no one in front of him. 2 metres out, puts it through for Blackburn's first. 15 and a half minutes gone, first term. Blackburn on the board with a goal, 1-3-9, trailing Baldwin 2 straight 12, and Fagan getting some attention. Weatherall wasn't too pleased that he got a goal against him, tackled him over the shoulder, and the umpire said you can't do that anywhere, anytime, and Fagan will be shooting for the second in half a minute.
Well, Blackburn just need to take a backward step here. They got the free kick. Well, they've obviously got under Baldwin's skin here a bit, Davo. So
and a 25 will take him to the goal line, make a certainty. Fagan 2 goals, Blackburn 2 goals, and now the Burners are in front, and we're yet to see the kick, but I'm giving it to him.
Hope he doesn't make a liar of you, Gav.
I think I could kick this one.
You reckon? He didn't miss.
And it's a
goal. Blackburn hit the front and they've just regrouped in the last 5 minutes. Blackburn 2-3-15, a 3-point advantage over Baldwin, 2 straight 12. Roverwold might get dragged because that was ill-discipline personified.
It was, but what do you do? I think 2 minutes earlier there was a contest at centre half forward where 2 Baldwin players were hit fairly high and nothing happened. And that happens in games of football, and I think there was just that little bit of frustration when the ball came down. So, you know, yes, ill-discipline, but he's an experienced player, let him go.
Boundary side, Alana Coleman.
Really troubling ball with their leg speed, and I think that was the result of that last goal, not the second one, the one before that.
So Mason's going to win this tap for the Tigers. Conker follows up nicely, but gets his handball straight to Jonathan Simpkin. Little chipping ball towards centre half forward. She was the flyer. Good body by Macaulay, and Naughton mops up at the back. Got a man in Bathy, and Bathy's got runners left and right of him. Going to push back and look to kick inside 50 towards a Thorpe direction. Strong body work, couldn't mark it. Banks at the fall of the ball. His handball's poor. They'll be able to mop up nicely now through Van der Haar. Gives it to Jono Simpkin. Low spearing kick. I think it's his brother Tom on the far side it is. Right on the wing in front of the coach's box.
That was a bad turnover, wasn't it? He had 2 options and missed them all.
Nice by Tom Simpkin, just lowers his eyes and hits up Mason. Gives his quick handballs to Gilchrist. His kick is just to the path of Goebbels, who slides in with a chest mark. He's right on the boundary though. Looks to go short. Umpire's just tightening him up on his mark, so he might be forced to have a crack at goals here.
You wouldn't put this past him either, just quietly.
No, we know what Jeff Goebbels can do.
His eyes are still darting off to the left, looking for a leader. Makes his way in. That classic skip. Goes with the right-left sort of banana. It's going to go right to the goal line. Good fist from behind, and Socio mops it up for the Burners. Oh. Gilchrist of the tail variety fell over, and now Blackburn could just be happy to lock this ball up at centre-half back, and they do. That's a good result, I think, for the Burners.
And you've created a new fruit, that banana that goes left-right.
It was just a bit of a weird topsy-turvy sort of off the side of the boot kick by Goebbels. He wasn't happy with it. No leaders coming off, and Blackburn going to lock this one up once again on centre-half back.
But Blackburn are certainly, every opportunity they have, they're going man on the top.
Yep.
Just trying to hurt Baldwin all the time.
Through the legs of Farron Ray there, that ball, and now McIntyre can get on hands and knees. Great play to extract that footy and kick it inside 50. Hammond the target. Good ball from behind by McCutcheon, brings it to ground, but Hammond's still fighting strong. He's still going at this one. McCutcheon's there, but I think he's jumped at his back, and yeah, he's given a high free there. It's unfortunate for Hammond. It was good pressure, but McCutcheon kept that ball in front of him well. Now he's going to go up further towards the wing. Not a great kick. Bain had to be clean. He wasn't. In fact, it was Van der Haar, and he's given away a free kick.
That zone is really causing problems, isn't it?
Yep, they can't get through it.
They cannot get through it at the moment.
Clay's kick finds a teammate there, and Vizari, now he's going to bomb a pretty ugly ball towards centre half forward. Going to take a good mark for this one. Flying strongly there was Simpkin. Bathy the spoiled. Gottliebson at the back needs to pick it up. Got Hudson right on his tail. Coming through strong was Vizari again, mopping up his work. Now a snap around the corner from Fagan right to the goals. Diving effort by Watkins, couldn't mark, and now Pendlebury can mop up. And a nice sliding mark once again by Tom Simpkin on the wing. Baldwin relieve a little bit of pressure.
And Jonathan Simpkin ran in front of him. You can't get the hand pass when you run through the mark. So Tom just steadies on half-back, puts it down the line where Blackburn seem to have the numbers, at least defensively, they go the punch and take it out of bounds.
The one thing I've noticed about Baldwin, Davo, when they don't have their 2 pillars, Broadhurst and Barker, they can't lead up the ground where they normally direct their play. They're being forced wide, and their major goal kickers just can't get on the scoreboard.
21 minutes gone. There's Meeson's tapped across. So from the ruck to the back of the pack, long down the line to centre half forward goes the ball, but Blackburn have now realising the direct nature of Baldwin's play and are getting numbers to the back. And at ground level, it's a fierce contest for the ball, and it's wrapped up under the pack of 15. And we'll have a ball up 60 metres around boundary side is of the pavilion here at Moreton Park. So it's all where Blackburn seem to surround the ground is where the play is for the moment, the supporters that is. Taken down in a tackle was Danaher. The umpire says it's gut free. Conker in traffic, just puts a hand pass hoping for a teammate to run into it. Quick kick from Baldwin though, gets it forward. Where will the ball go next? Conker comes back in on the defensive 50 arc to try to go for it. Cross comes in to grab the ball and then tackle. And the ball's been wrapped up centre forward for Baldwin, and it's just moving by metres like a rugby scrum.
In between the arcs, they're really struggling, Baldwin, and they just can't seem to get clear possession out. And if they do, they've got to go really wide to hit targets. So again, we're talking about those two key posts. They've got to work something out on how they can get it in there quicker.
There's no clear clearance winners. The ball's been smothered off the boot just again. So the rucks go at it. Meeson's the only one who really contests it. So he gets to tap it onto the outside. But this suits Blackburn. And in the hands of Banks, the opposing ruckman, his kick's a bit of a drifter. And so Baldwin claimed the ball again. The kick around the corner by Farron Ray was brilliantly marked by his teammate in Bain. So Bain's been very influential across half forward. He's looking to get it to Goebbels, and close the line it goes. Fierce battle forward. Blackburn won't want to bring it into the corridor, and the line is their friend, but Baldwin aggressively come in for the tackle, and it finally goes out of bounds, 40 metres around from the Baldwin goals.
Just gone 23 minutes there. Great work by Dan Camposano just to force that one out. Baldwin, as Davo said, haven't been as clean going forward as they'd like, but they've got it deep inside and a chance now. Fraser, kick was smothered, going to go down the line, attacking it nice was Watts. Just came through beautifully, but his handball was poor, and Macaulay chops it off. Bit of pressure now for Blackburn right on the line. I think it's Danaher. He's going to go low and finds Otten. And now some revealing pressure, or relaxing pressure, so I say. As they push up to the wing, Hammond pushing right up to centre wing. Has to slow play down. Bathy calling for it deep inside 50. That's where he's going to go. Makes him work for it, and it's a pretty poor kick in the end. Sean Cross coming in to mop it up, and takes no time to get the handball to Pendlebury. His kick cut off by Socio. Hudson keeps it in. He's got Vasari inside if he wants him. Left foot ball. Going to go right to the goal line. Dylan Vasari. That is a ripping goal. And to Sam Hudson for keeping that ball alive. Good early nomination for your Vibro goal of the day. And something out of nothing for the Burners.
Great work from Socio with the spoil here. It was an ugly goal, but it was worth
millimetres.
But again, it's that movement out of defence that they're really struggling with. And even though Pendlebury's a great kick, not able to hit the targets, they're not leading up. They're expecting the ball to come over the top and then just not getting it over the top ball.
I think Blackburn are showing more poise moving out of the back line, Davo. I just think at the moment.
Chris Pendlebury frustrated that his fingertips couldn't reach the floating ball there from the kicker in Vasari. And Blackburn go forward again. This time Hudson tries to work it. He just spills it, and now he's in a pack of four. And O'Regan works the turnover into the centre corridor. So it's now in the hands of Van der Harp. Puts it out wide to the outer side. We're Baldwin again. They love to hold the ball in hand. If the short pass can hit the target, that's what they want to see happen. And now it's Goebbels taking the mark beyond the arc, but he thinks on the left flank that he might be a chance.
That's the issue, isn't it? Goebbels has had 2 shots from goal, outside from 50, and both of them on the boundary line, opposite sides of the ground. So they're not able to go through that middle corridor at all at the moment.
Then Blackburn have extended the lead out to 8 points, 3-3-21, leading Baldwin 2-1-13. Before we get Alana Coleman, her perspective from the boundary line and potentially an interview from one of the coaches, let's get some more special comments from Brash and Davo.
Yeah, well, at this stage, you'd say that Blackburn have really worked hard on making sure that their defensive structures are in place. I love the way that they're pushing back and you know, really blocking all of Baldwin's opportunity to try and go forward. Baldwin are trying to chip it out and chip it through. They maybe have to try and run it through, maybe take a little bit more handball receives. They're just trying to chip it, and if they turn the football over, it comes back pretty quickly. So very impressed with Baldwin and the way they're moving the footy. Having said that, Blackburn, I'm very impressed with Baldwin as attack on the football. They're certainly not out of the game by any stretch.
No, and one of the things that I noticed in that first quarter, I think Blackburn showed a lot more poise coming out of the back line there and trying to. It's just that unfortunately their delivery into the forward line probably hasn't been exactly the way they wanted to. But that's probably mainly because of the pressure that Baldwin are putting on them. But vice versa, I think Baldwin at times are probably going one or too many handballs too many. They're lacking a little bit of structure. When you don't have a centre half forward or a full forward to direct your play through, it makes it extremely hard to try and score goals from the flanks. And I think with Jeff Goebels probably being the number one forward in this side at the particular moment, with a relatively inexperienced forward line, one I might say, with Sam De Souza, who hasn't played a lot of football, so would still need to understand a few of the structures that go along. I just feel that I just think that this is where Blackburn can actually, you know, manipulate the circumstances.
Let's go boundary side to Alana Coleman.
Just you with Blackburn coach Con, how did you see that first quarter?
Yeah, it's pretty hot early. We knew it was going to be hot. It sort of got that finals-like atmosphere, so it was just important for us to stay in the game and when we could just settle. And you can see later in that quarter it started to open up a little bit, but I suspect that this next quarter is going to be pretty much the same.
Good luck for the next quarter.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Well, Alana, you didn't have to rush it because Baldwin haven't left the huddle. You probably could get in there for a review of what they're talking about, because they don't look like even breaking up at the moment. As I speak, they've just yeah. But Blackburn are literally waiting for them, but the crowd will take their time getting off anyhow. But
I think Marty would be a bit frustrated at the moment. I think with the way that they've been playing.
Yeah, well,
they're just not clean with possession. They're just not clean.
And it's something that's not really, like, their game is all about clean possession. Their game is all about pinpoint accuracy. But that happens when you've got a big ground. You can do that. You can put the ball out in front, allow the player to run 20 to 30 metres, where here you're kicking into contest nearly all the time. So that was their problem. They went short in their back half, and Blackburn were just letting them. Let them go short. Let them kick 6 or 7 little short passes to get it just outside 50. But then they couldn't go to that next kick, and they kept turning it over, ball rebounding back. So let's see whether Marty Pasca's been able to work out some sort of structural change-up to allow for them to be able to bring the ball into their forward line a little bit easier.
They are, you know, when you look at the lineup they've got here, they're a bit of a. Actually, their forward line looks quite small, Davo.
It
is.
is.
Know, you look at Bain, you got Fraser playing centre half forward. I think that's, you know, like I said, that's because of all their key forwards. 2 of their key forwards are out, so you've got to pinch it.
Yeah, well, that's where maybe, well, look, at centre half forwards on small grounds, often the ball goes over their head, so maybe that's what they're thinking about. But when the ball's in the centre half back, you've got to be able to have a target to hit up.
That's right.
There was a moment in the first quarter when I probably would have looked at Joss and gone, did we tip the wrong team? But now I think Blackburn have steadied and have definitely dominated the second half, just as Baldwin seemed to dominate the first half of quarter one. Quarter two's underway with Gilchrist getting a quick hand pass out, and Baldwin fire themselves to the goal square. Will the kick bounce through? The defence will get there just in time and punch over the line by Windle. So Baldwin, they pretty much just muscled it out of the centre corridor and got a score. And Windle will quickly play on from fullback, or should I say Faulkner.
It's a big clearing kick that was. Great mark. Superb mark. I think that might have been Farron Ray. It was.
It is.
Coming from a couple back. That's why you got a bloke like him in. And he's going to send it back deep inside 50. Tom Simpkin, the flyer at the back. It's going to beat all comers. Sawyers tried putting some pressure on, but once again, Windle sends it out over the boundary line. Pretty much right next to the boundary line post. Blackburn 21 plays Baldwin 14. Baldwin looking for an early one here just to relieve a little bit of that pressure and heat that Blackburn have been forcing on them. De Soyer's going to take the ruck tap. Well done by Socho just to palm it out to Danaher. Great smother coming across though by Rennie Gilchrist, and once again will be thrown up right in front of the Red Army. They're out and about on Good Friday football here at Moreton Park. De Soyers is going to go up in the ruck again. Banks should have the advantage once more. Good body work by De Soyers though. He's going to get first hands. Murphy roved it beautifully. Quick right foot ball out towards the Hammond direction. He flies. Couldn't grab it on the second attempt, but numbers with Blackburn at the bottom. McIntyre now out to Kenworthy. His kick was sort of smothered and off his side of his boot, but just bounced before the line and going to be thrown in right on wing as a very bandaged Glenn Shivers makes his way back onto the ground. Tossed up, Mason in the ruck. Well done by Banks though, found it way to Socho. There is that man Shivers. Good roving little handball out the top to Fraser. He's kicked McCauley. Sat off the contest. Great attack by Tom Simpkin. Ended in the path of his brother John, and he was wrapped up as well. So Baldwin starting this contest in his second term with a bit more skill.
DeSoyers is there tall, but he's a lanky, skinny kid, isn't he? He needs to be further back in the contest than someone else taking all this work.
Got pushed out of that contest, he hit a free. Gonna get a free is Sam DeSoyers. So, well anticipated there, Brett Davidson, and just some smart work in the ruck. He probably didn't realise he was just a bit under the ball, and Banks gave him a little bit of a shove, and now he's gonna have a kick 25-30 out from a 45-degree angle.
If he was a bigger body, he would have stayed still, but he's that lighter body, and he just got pushed easily.
Kick the first of the game. Now looking to kick the third for Baldwin. It's coming right to left, but not quite enough, and minus score. It's a pretty bad miss there. And McCauley's keen to remind him about it. So minus score 2-3-15. Blackburn lead by a straight kick, 3-3-21. 3 minutes gone, second term.
So Faulkner will do the kicking out duties again. This time he's not going to play on himself. He's just going to kick it as long as he can. Broadcast side, long way. He does go big fly again from Baldwin. Couldn't be brought down. And the pack just jump on the ball. Second effort there by San Filippo. He can only hand the ball over as he spilt the mark.
DeSoyers is pretty sore here. I think he got a knee or an arm to the head in that marking contest.
Well, he can thank his teammate for getting his knee up that high. But again, unlike what we saw of Ray, mark wasn't taken, but they've got some good flies at Baldwin, and they'll win the clearance, and they'll just put it towards Cheevers, who's been wrapped up, and he's been wrapped up by his opponent in Campesano. With Cheevers, he's got the bandage around his head. He'll be not missed this afternoon. The kick drops out of defence, but Banks in good position. He was 1 against 4 or 5 in that group, and he took the mark with upright arms. And he gets it forward. Conquered, good body work, puts his body in line with the ball, and eventually puts a hand pass towards centre forward for Blackburn. But the numbers will win out of the back of the pack, and crosses on the end of a hand pass, which will set him up towards the Cheevers. Just got underneath it, and the punch gone in from Campesano. Ground level, it's done. He hand passes backwards and into trouble. Gives Rennie a chance, and he misses Gilchrist, who had an open chance on the left flank, and he tried to spear it through the middle from 40, but he misses the left side. Another minus score. It's a 5-point game. Blackburn are 3-3-21. Baldwin doing all the attacking in the first 5 minutes, 2-4-16.
They're just making a few more mistakes, Blackburn, under pressure. Some of those handballs missing, some of the kicks missing, so Baldwin are just starting to get on top in that area.
Special comments by Brett Davison and Wayne Brasher today as Kenworthy plays on and kicks long. Otten the flyer there and followed up nicely on ground deck. Gets a handball out to McIntyre, who's in a ton of space and can work up towards half forward where Fagan in the long sleeves. 2 goals already, goes low with the left ball, pretty poor. Cross cut it off. Applying some strong pressure was Compton. Still in there was Hammond. Great strength shown to get the handball out to Compton. He's kick smothered. Blackburn with McIntyre goes back in. Now Hudson dragged off it. This is good by Baldwin. They're just tackling really strongly, but Blackburn still managed to get its way out. Bizarri back to that man Hudson and cross. Strong tackle again. This ball is still alive on that far flank. Inside Blackburn's attacking 50. The umpire finally gets a stoppage so he can ball it up.
That was great footy, that. That was just player after player desperate at making sure that they kept the ball inside the area.
Good fight from Blackburn after Baldwin has started strong in his first 5 minutes. No clear winner in the ruck. Concat, he's kick smothered as well. In fact, it might have actually been a pay to mark to Churg when it has.
Gee, I thought that was very generous.
Very questionable distance, but yeah. Regardless, Churgman finds a teammate, and now it ends up in Meeson's path, who loves looking for that little handball, and there it is to Pendlebury. Goes wide towards the weather or direction. Gottliebson from the back had to try and beat Hammond, who was just going to try and lock this ball up, I think, and he's going to do so successfully. So probably not the best kick. Weatherald and Gottliebson giving up a fair bit of height to Jake Hammond, but the ball up's a good result. Boundary side, Alana Coleman. Mason down to Gilchrist. Sliding in great was Conton, and Murphy followed up strong with a tackle.
That was when he went up for that mark, I reckon. He came down pretty heavily. So, I mean, they can't really afford to have De Soysa off the ground, Davo, because he's only their only key forward with any sort of height, even though he's lanky.
Exactly.
Mason easily wins this one towards Jonathan Simpkin. Good handball back inside traffic to Rennie Gilchrist. High up and under, and Camposano, sorry, should I say, just read that better. Took a nice chest mark, pretty easy.
And he's a winner, Josh. He's just beating Chivers all the time.
And he's going to beat him again here by getting a nice 25-metre penalty. Chivers complaining. Not 100% sure on that one, Brash.
No.
Regardless, he plays on, wastes no time to get the kick inside 50. Hammond the target. A free kick's been pulled out here. And it's going to go the way of Hammond. Is it? Yes, it is. So Jake Hammond, somehow out of about 5 or 6 bodies, and a few of the ball players remonstrating with the umpire. They're unhappy, but
there was a hold. The ball hadn't got there yet.
They're going to get a chance to put through their 4th, and Hammond, who, as we said, kicked 6 last week, has been pushed up high today and doesn't. So a nice goal for Hammonds, his first for the day, and a nice little response for Blackburn. 4-3-27 to Baldwin's 2-4-16.
They are really out of sorts here, Baldwin. They are out of sorts at the moment. I just don't know the way that they're passing. They can't when they're controlling uncontested possession. They still can't hit a target.
One of the issues then too was that they brought the ball out of defence then and kicked it long to a 3-on-2 scenario. If they're going to go long, they've got to go over the line. They're just kicking it to the line every time.
Watts is relieving Meeson in the ruck. He goes early to try to beat his combatant in Banks, and at ground level it looked like Baldwin will get a free kick to you. No, not Simpkin. So
O'Regan, I believe.
O'Regan. So it was just an off-the-ball tackle without the ball being in anyone's hand. So the kick goes inside 50. It's not really advantaging Baldwin, so they come into the tackles at centre forward. Ray's there to work a hand pass, swinged in the tackle, and he gets it towards Chergrin, who gets pushed over as tackled. And he'll get a free kick, and he might have hit his face as he went down to the ground, so he's a little bit
I don't know about that
dazed.
one either.
I think Blackburn feeling stiff, thought they deserved to hold the man free kick from the same little contest.
So it's in the hands of Chergrin, and he's beyond the arc, which might not be 50. What do you reckon, guys? What's the measure on this arc? Because they always back themselves, the players.
I reckon it's about 40, 45, Gav.
You'll have to kick from 50, that's for sure.
So beyond the arc goes Chergrin, puts it to the goal square. The defenders have got enough height, and one of the punchers was Camposano, who's been as solid as a rock and concedes a minor score. 2-5-17 to Baldwin. It's a 10-point game with Blackburn 4-3-27. Bendigo Bank scoreboard.
Davo, Camposano just seems like a real leader down there, real general.
He's excellent, isn't he? He's an old-fashioned footballer, typical Essendon Districts player.
You can see why he played comp football.
Yeah.
Great kick out by Faulkner, finds Kenworthy on the top of defensive 50, and his short one inboard finds Danaher. Goes shorter still to Fagan. Strong hands, real strong hands under a lot of pressure from Weatherall. That's been a good battle, Fagan versus Weatherall. Definitely the points going to Fagan. He's going to have to be brought back though. Wasn't quite behind his mark here.
Lucky, because he would have turned the ball over then.
Yeah.
So gets a second crack right in the middle of the ground.
But they've got more options, haven't they? They've got players leading ball and just don't have any options.
One of those options there was done. He's kick inside 50. A lucky bounce for Danaher. Tries to sell a bit of candy, but Watts was onto it. Kick comes out, but numbers there with Macaulay. Good pressure, finds his teammate in Otten. Otten's kick right on the boundary towards Conker. And I think he's going to be able to force this one out with some pressure from his teammate. A free kick though. I think it's just gone in a bit high. Boundary line, Alana Com with an update on Sam De Soysa.
It's out on the ground again now, boys, so obviously nothing too serious.
Good to hear as Gottliebson has this ball right in the deep back pocket. Goes back to where it came from. Shocking kick. Conker chops it off. Too easy. Was looking for Goebbels. Just off the one step. It's a coach killer, that one. Conker's going to go back for a set shot. He's right on the boundary, about 35, 40 out. And I reckon he's going to have a crack at the goals here.
I don't know how many times we've said it today, but it's a broken record at the moment. They just cannot get it out from that Blackburn forward line. The zone's outstanding.
Conker's kick looks
Gee,
pretty
good.
good.
Yeah.
Looks brilliant. It's a great goal. He's been a midfield ball so far today. Now he's gone forward to kick a really important goal for the Burners. They extend their lead, 12 minutes gone, 5-3-33, Balwyn 2-5-17. And Wayne Brusher, these Tigers are really in uncharted waters right now.
They are, and they're in a bit of trouble at the moment. They can't get the ball out of the middle, and I think they're middle-tiered players, right, that have ridden on the coattails of the superstars of the Balwyn Football Club for many years, need to stand up now, Davo, because they need them.
Baffy's gone into the ruck for Blackburn, but Watts did win the tap. But again, the pack, they merged from the flanks and the wings, but it's been a free kick found for a throw or something. It seemed the umpire's given the free kick to Sotcho, who gets it as long as he can for Blackburn, deep inside their 50. The pack fly out at ground level, it's Hammond. He hands it out to Conker. They go towards the pocket where Fagan, the 2-goal kicker, puts it inboard and he finds his teammate, and Hudson in good position, 30 metres out. That Blackburn just worked it until they found the space.
Not only that, they got it, and they got it quickly and long into the forward line to tall targets. They've got to bring Meeson and put him forward if they're going. They can't go Meeson and Watts off the bench.
No.
One of them forward, let De Soysa play centre half forward and give them some targets. They've got no targets at the moment.
The forward live wire, Hudson, he's drifting and it's hit the post from 30 metres out.
Stabbed at it.
Yeah, he definitely was a bit worried by the...
That would have been a handy goal.
I don't know what he was worried about.
That would have been a really handy goal.
It should have been converted from 30 metres out with not much of an angle.
Balwyn now get a chance to relieve. Bathy might have been in the back there, but Hammond following up nicely. Kenworthy's been lively this quarter across half forward. Looks into the guts. Some good talk there by Fagan, allows Vasari to mark in front of him. That's a really poor kick though up towards the pocket, and Pendlebury can just punch that one out of play pretty easily.
Probably only one of the rare mistakes. Kick to a 1-on-2, then to a flank. Probably had the opportunity to go straight for goal there.
35 out from Blackburn's goal. They're pressing.
Again, 2 men behind the contest. Balwyn get it, they're going to go straight to that contest again.
Leading by 17 points. Coming in over the top there was Gilchrist in the ruck. O'Regan got a snap out of trouble. Nice work by Vasari to get a hand at it. Somehow keeps it alive, and he's got an option over the top. It's a risky one. Taking on a few tacklers there, and Blackburn going to be all right there. Going to have to just be a ball up.
Well, they're pretty lucky fend-off.
They're the ones you got to give, because he had the ball. He gave the fend-off, got tackled. Should be a free kick, that one.
Pushed out in between wing and half forward, attacking for Blackburn. Cross with the clearance. He's kicked those out of bounds on the full.
Good mark by the water boy.
Clay looked to go back, but decided not to, and now doesn't really know where to go. Now he's going to go back. Defensive side. Chip kicked over now to Faulkner. Now the switch is on for Blackburn. Nice little kick to Kenworthy. Going to bounce in front of him. We've got time. Takes on Shivers. Now takes a bounce. Got to get it on quickly. Good kick though. Finds a teammate once again in the hands of Clay, who started it all. Now goes deep inside 50. Hammond the target, but great work by Pendlebury. Coming in from the side. Mops it up. Goes out right. Gilchrist to cross. He's been prolific this second term. That's a much better kick him. And playing on immediately was Bain. Got Tom Simpkin. Great body spoil over the top by McCauley. And soft free kick, I reckon, on that one.
It's just that he came from the front, I reckon.
Yeah, that's the only reason, I reckon.
So Simpkin's going to get the free.
That's the first time that they've transitioned from defence a little bit easier than what they had. And maybe because they got a little bit of a spread because of the turnover, but Pendlebury has been very good down back as well.
So right on the boundary in front of the scoreboard, far side about 40 out. Kick's going to find the top of the square. Meeson and Shivers the target. Over the top, Shivers almost got hands on it. Blackburn now need to kill this ball. Goebbels had a little foot out of mid-air, but smartly by Campusano took it out over the line. So 5-4-34 Blackburn. Balwyn 2-6, 18, 16 and a half minutes gone.
Otten put his fingers around the ball as Goebbels was trying to socket it through, so that was a saving effort by the Blackburn defender. But it might come back as Balwyn get a turnover at half forward and spear it into Goebbels, who was standing on his own in the pocket, just as zone had been established, and he got out of the back of it. So Goebbels from the pocket in front of the scoreboard that reads Blackburn leading by 16 points. So it's a very acute angle, but if anyone's got the skills to either bend it or go with the straight drop punt. You've got to back Goebbels.
Yeah, but he's still leading to the boundary. He needs to, you know...
I think that was just the zonal thing coming out of the kick out that he found himself there. So Goebbels from the right pocket, he bends it, but too far, and the umpire comes to his left and signals it behind. So Baldwin, not accurate, but they're dropping the ball short of the goals most of the time for the defence to scurry it over. Baldwin 2-7-19 to Blackburn 5-4, 34, 17 minutes gone, second term.
Gee, I tell you what, I love this Campusano. He was standing up to Mason. He was letting boys know what was on. He does not take a backward step. His voice, you can see out in the ground, his voice is outstanding.
Good Friday football on Radio Eastern 98.1. We got a good contest as we expected. Blackburn taking it right up to the reigning premiers. Campusano once again to McIntyre, just took off. Sanfilippo let him crawl around the mark. Big kick towards Hammond. Push definitely to Pendlebury, and another win for Baldwin's number 9. Had to move it on quickly. Hands to Churgwin. Nowhere to go, so dumps it high towards the man. Here's Campusano over the back, got a good fist on it. And now a bit of time for Murphy maybe to mop it up, and the boundary line will beat them both. And those laughters as Campusano just follows up. It
was like pantomime wrestling. He was leading over, he was creeping over with the big shoulder. It was funny.
Not taking anything from anyone. Here's Campusano.
And he's got evil eyes. Have you seen them, Josh, on the TV? He's got very penetrating eyesight.
That's the attitude we've seen from this Blackburn side, and Socio is out thanks to a good linking handball by Conker. Free kick to Baldwin definitely though, and was dragged down to the contest. Now Taylor Gilchrist, he's got nowhere to go, looks back, looks left, kick into the middle, Banks almost marked, got a hand on it though into Mason's chest. Gollifson run down from behind, holding the ball. Once again, Baldwin just got no time on the footy. Conson wastes no time to move it on to Otten. Nice bit of candy sold there to Gilchrist. His kick's beautiful. Hugs the boundary line to Thorpe. He's got time to look low inside 50 towards the goals, but
just need to show a bit more poise there.
Probably not the best option. I think he had a few numbers, one out in the middle of the 50, but a minor score it is. 5-5-35. Baldwin 2-7-19. That's that 16-point margin once again.
Tell you what, if they can get the ball into Otten's hands, he's a beautiful kick of the football, isn't he?
Yep, hasn't done too much wrong.
Simpkin was quick to play on to Gilchrist, and Goebbels comes a long way out to take the mark on the chest. He's maybe within range if he's settled, but he's spearing a pass in. Got two options, and Ray was one of them, who just knew where to position himself and allow Goebbels to put it towards him. And he's taken the mark 40 metres out, relatively uncontested in the end.
He might be a reasonable option to go forward as well. He's a smart player, good in the air, generally a good kick. He was just too strong, man.
Put Mason at full forward and he could crumb off him in the forward pocket.
So Ray from directly in front, from within 40 metres, will have a shot at goal to the scoreboard end. It's much needed that it goes through the middle. The umpire is searching for the ball on the left of the goal post. And it's a minor score, 2-8-20. It's a 15-point lead for Blackburn, who are quite fortunate that Baldwin haven't been able to score a goal this term. 5-5-35.
The other thing is that Baldwin, even though they're 15 points behind, they've been played all over by Blackburn, yet they're only 15 points behind.
Kenworthy with the kick out again, goes long in the Bathy direction. Mason over the top. Danaher roved his spilled mark. Got the handball out to Faulkner, who just dumps it on the boot, high and strong towards Thorpe. Coming in from the side was Hudson. It was brilliant. It brought the ball to ground, and Thorpe's going to fight for it now. Baldwin players jump on top of him. And right in the middle of the park, it'll be a ball up.
I think the difference is Blackburn have got two key tall forwards that they're prepared to kick the ball long to. Baldwin don't have that luxury, and this is where the problem's stemming for them.
Mason, good body work, but tapped straight to the opposition. Conson got it off the hands, and he's up and under kicks might work out in the path of Fagan. Great courage, went back with it, played on, and the whistle is going to bring it back. He's going to be a free kick to Weatherer. I think it's going to be against Hudson. We were about to go off in the box, so too with the Red Army, but not to be.
I think the reason it came to ground level was the push out on the Baldwin defender.
So it's in the hands of McCutcheon.
He needs to lift too.
Under pressure, that kick. Mason going to try and claim it. One on by Kenworthy again, came in over the top and forced the contest and forced the ball up on the far wing. He's been brilliant, Kenworthy, this quarter, Brash.
He has. He's been controlling that back line and creating that run.
Again, they pushed 2 players behind the contest. Blackburn, they've done it well. They've been really disciplined in doing it all day. Allow the extra at the contest from Baldwin. Just block it in. Done it well.
As much of a battle of wits between these two coaches as it is for these two teams out on the park, and you'd have to say Con Caravias is winning that battle at the moment. It's going to be another locked up ball. Blackburn lead this game 5-5-35 to Baldwin's 2-8-20. 22.5 minutes gone second term. Mason wins the tap down. Good work by Gilchrist to get a hand out to his brother in Rennie. His kick's pretty poor though, considering he was under not much pressure, but just hugs the boundary line and will go out, so not the worst of results, 35 metres out from their goal. They need one here before half-time. Only 15 points behind, but definitely feel like they should be a lot closer. Tossed in, Chivers jumps high in the ruck, brings it to ground, but Blackburn seemingly have all the numbers. Murphy, a strong tackle. Umpire says he'll have to ball it up once again. Defending resolutely. Those numbers all behind the ball here for the Burners. Banks tried to find one of them, but Gilchrist was there. Rove strong by Murphy in a tackle again. Wanted holding the ball. And off the side of the boot, it's going to be thrown in once more. These big body Blackbird mids holding their own against the experienced premiership winning ones from Baldwin. Tossed up again. Banks from the back is rucked pretty impressively today, giving away some size, and his ground efforts just like that one has been good. It was stopped in his tracks by a strong tackle. Conker got a handball out to Danaher, relieving kick from 50, but Baldwin have the numbers. Gilchrist into the centre of the park in a good user in Simpkin. Goes onto the left. Goebels coming through. Great courage by Dylan Vasari to chop off the mark in front of the Goebels path. That's not easy to do. Good nomination there for your Westfield Knox player of the day. And his kick out to the pocket finds Faulkner.
So Faulkner goes short and they're keeping it in hand, Blackburn. So they're doing well. It's in Clay's hands, who's been steady off half back. And he's looking backwards. And he'll concede 40 metres to Faulkner. So Faulkner will go the left side now, trying to see a way opener. Brilliant there by Simpkin. Pressure on. Tackles him in the back pocket. Hand pass to get out of the tackle means Faulkner concedes a point. Or has he been penalised for holding the ball? He has. Brilliant play there by Tom Simpkin, who knew the switch was on, and he corralled him, and when he tackled him, it was all prior opportunity given against Faulkner, and Tom Simpkin from 10 metres out. This will be reward for effort. Brilliant effort. 7 minor scores this quarter for Baldwin, but this is an individual effort that will go down for Baldwin as a much-needed goal, and he's missed it to the left from only 10 metres out, 45-degree angle, and that is the 8th minor score for Baldwin this term, and 25 minutes in, they are still searching for their third goal.
And Davo, not to point any fingers out here, but you've got 2 ex-AFL players out on the park for Baldwin, and both have missed gettable set shots. It hurts, it kills.
Yeah, look at that, and it's a confidence in them from the opposite, from their own players that hurts now. It's, yeah, that was poor.
It's a bit of luck maybe the free kick was given, but still relief from Faulkner, who takes his kick out. Sanfilippo probably could have gone up for the mark instead of the fist. Chivers tackled out to cross. Now time for Fraser to snap around the body, but it was a good smother applied by Windle, and through for yet another rushed behind. Late stages, second term.
Cross needs to get more involved, doesn't he? He's such a good footballer. He just needs to get involved. He showed them with his hands he can be great.
13-point lead. Ken Worthy with a kick out. It's risky. Thorpe was the contester, but Gilchrist, the spoiler at the back, comes to Shivers. Went for another big snap around a bit of pressure, but probably had a few more numbers and time than he realised. His kick's gone all the way out of bounds on the full, so Blackburn are just mopping up this pressure nicely and will 100% take this result going into half-time.
And sometimes when you kick a lot of points, what happens is that you want to take it upon yourself to break the deadlock, and you try things that don't work or are difficult.
Strong hands by Ryan Bathy. Cross centre half back.
Good mark by Otten.
Otten, sorry.
He's had a terrific first half, Max Otten.
Yeah, well corrected, Brush. He's been brilliant. That kick off hands. Macaulay tapped it into the path of Thorpe, and now Blackburn are out. Could they snare a goal right before the break? Well done by Churgwin to get the spoil in. That's a good result for Baldwin. Sochio's a talented player coming up at the ball, but Jared Churgwin, probably one of the few Balwyn defenders that can hold their head up high slightly, is crossing to 27 minutes.
They've just missed a few of their targets going forward as well in the last 10 or so, Blackburn, just not hitting them cleanly at the moment.
Definitely not out of it yet, Balwyn, but with a half of football left, Blackburn are going to continue to press. Danaher's kick out of bounds on the full. That might just do it for this game towards half-time.
Yeah, the first quarter went shorter than this, but we've had a lot of stoppages in terms of shots at goal going wide. So we're just about half-time in this Good Friday clash. Blackburn 5-5-35 leading Balwyn 2-10-22 as the punch goes forward from the outlet ball that Balwyn are trying to clear the defence. Conker gave it to a man that fell over. So just as Blackburn were looking to have a shot, Danaher has to come in to mop it up, and he puts a pass in and makes Conker work for it, but he's got strength of character to put his body on the line and takes a mark 40 metres out from goal's left flank.
Might be a bit slippery over that side because there was two or three players that lost their footing there.
We kicked his last one from this area too. So, and look, and the one thing about him is that he lights it up when he gets around the contest, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I think the ground conditions are actually suiting him down to a T here, Davo.
So is it rain earlier today that might have made the conditions a bit slippery? Conker from 45 metres out, puts it over the goal umpire's hat once more. They'll take that into the sheds with a big lead of 19 points. And Blackburn 6-5-41 to Balwyn 2-10-22. There's the quintessential difference. Shots at goal going through the middle.
And that really does hurt, that one, because he was, you know, he's had two shots from probably 40 on close to 15, 20 out from the boundaries, nailed them both, and Balwyn have had those 8 shots from, you know, reasonably gettable contests and missed every one of them.
So back in the middle, not long to go before half-time. The Burners are going to go into it with their heads held high. They've taken it right up to the reigning premiers. Cross pushes it forward for a late chance for Balwyn, but a timely goal by Luke Conker just before the half-time siren means the home side are going to take a 19-point lead into the main break. 6-5-41. They lead Balwyn's 2-10-22. Goal kickers for Blackburn. Conker, as we said, with 2. Fagan, 2, and singles to Hammond and Vazari. For Balwyn, unfortunately, no goal scorers in that term. They had their chances to Soiser and Chivers, the only major kickers here at Moreton Park. It's half-time on EFL Good Friday football. It's been an exciting game. What can Balwyn do to respond as Blackburn take a 19-point lead into the half-time break? We'll be right back here on the home of Eastern Football League action, Radio Eastern 98.1 FM.
Hey, man. I've got some weekend goals. First, wake up around lunchtime. Oh, yeah. Second, go into Pancake Parlour and get one of their traditional breakfasts because it's served till 5 p.m. every day.
You gotta go to Pancake Parlour for your weekend goals. Yeah, what else?
And then when I'm all full,
yeah, like in your belly,
just sit on the couch and watch me team kick some winning goals.
Bang!
Goal! Oh, Pancake Parlour's weekend goals.
Up and about and lovely.
Program sponsor.
EFL.org.au is the place to be online for all the latest on the Football League. Keep up to date by checking out the latest news and feature articles. Have your say in the EFL poll. Check out all the latest EFL videos, and best of all, you can listen back to any EFL radio program at any time. Head to EFL.org.au. The Eastern Football League. Local footy at its best.
Real people, real stories.
Whether I'm driving the morning coach service or whether I'm actually doing the transfer from the family, very rewarding.
It's heavy lifting, it's emotional,
Nothing better than the
it's
companion to keep
uplifting,
you up
it's
to date with
rewarding,
all the
and
latest
it's
when
a
you're at the footy.
vocation. It's
Better
not a
still,
job, and I
one
love
fits
it.
in your back
Watch
pocket.
the A Day in the
Eastern
Life
Footballer
video
is a
series
must
now
read.
at
All the
Tobin
latest
Brothers.au for an
feature
insight
articles and
into the
more.
specialised
Pick up
work
your
they
copy
do.
this weekend
Tobin
as
Brothers
you love it
Funerals
local across the
celebrating
Eastern
80
Football League.
years of service.
Program sponsor.
In the EFL media team for unrivaled coverage of the Eastern Football League in 2016. The Huddle takes a light-hearted look at the league for 2 hours from 4:30 every Friday evening. From 1 p.m. Saturdays, EFL Game Day gives you play-by-play from the latest live scores from around the East. Then a full wrap of all games from 10am to 12pm every weekend on EFL Sunday. The EFL media team have it covered as you love it local in 2016.
Up the Mitcham Tigers!
Ah, the Burners.
Let's go, Panthers.
What a mark! Let's go, doggies.
Tobin Brothers Funerals, serving all supporters in the Eastern Football League since 1934. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Program sponsor.
Dave and his mates are flying to the Gold Coast to watch their team play. Do they B, pay too much for a taxi, C, hope for an airport rail link this century, or D, get a lift from a mate and hope for the best when they fly home?
What about A for A1 Airport Parking?
At A1 Airport Parking, get 2 days for $4 or get 7 days parking for just $69. And at just 5 minutes from the airport, they'll get you there in time for your flight and pick you up when you get home. Show your footy or sporting club membership anytime you park and get 10% off. .com.au.
Program sponsor.
Welcome back to Moreton Park, Blackburn for Eastern Football League Good Friday Division 1 football. It's Blackburn leading this clash 6-5-41 by 19 points. 2-10-22, and it's time to cross down for a Channel 9 sports update from Mark McGugan. No, not ready there yet, so we'll just carry on from Blackburn, and it's a 19-point lead to Blackburn at halftime. Let's go through the goal kickers just to remind you before we do the halftime show. It's Blackburn kicking accurately. At quarter time, they were 3-3. Now they've added another 3 goals in the second term, through Conker kicking 2 goals in that second term and Hammond 1, with Fagan kicking 2 goals in the first term and Vasari also for the 6 for Blackburn. Whereas Baldwin kicked 9 points in the second term. Yes, that's right, 9 behinds. And their 2 goals came in the opening at 10 minutes to get the early lead, with De Souza and Cheevers, who has got a bandage around his head. Very notable for that. That is the 2 goals for Baldwin. So again, it's 6-5-41. Blackburn leading Baldwin 2-10-22. It looks like we're still waiting on the Channel 9 update, so I might get some help from special comments Wayne Brasher, who will have some details. We can talk about this game before we cross down to Mark McGugan.
Well, one of the things that I was hoping that Baldwin would do from last week was to come out and actually respond from last week with regards to their intensity on the ball. They've done that well, but they've got nothing else to back it up, Gav. I think the issue is they're controlling uncontested possession, but they're getting absolutely nothing out of it. They're lacking, their forward structure is breaking down badly because they don't have enough quality to go down the spine to try and generate any sort of genuine scoring opportunity, whereas on Blackburn, with Batty leading the charge down there along with Jake Hammond, you've got 2 solid forward targets, right, where Blackburn are actually being able to direct the ball through the centre, and hence they are creating opportunities. They may not be taking marks, Davo, but the crummers around the packs are able to feed off them and create more opportunity.
I put it down to a very un-Baldwin-like game.
It's pretty foreign, isn't it?
I'm just not used to seeing them not being able to use the ball well, or being pressured the way they have been pressured. They've been usually a lot calmer. Even Gilchrist, both the Gilchrists under pressure are making unfamiliar mistakes by hand and foot, so haven't seen that before.
And now we've got an opportunity in a late substitution. It's the old days of old days in terms of we had the substitutes in the AFL for a while, and now Channel 9 are working the switch on us. It's Clint Stanaway going to tell us a Channel 9 sports update.
Yeah, hello there, Gavin, and hello to all your listeners. Let's get a quick hit of the news right now. And homicide squad detectives have been called to Notting Hill following the discovery of a man's body near the entrance to an apartment block this morning. A cyclist aged in his 50s, he's been killed after colliding with a ute on the Princess Highway at Pakenham. What about Good Friday footy? Of course, a showdown where you are, but a crowd of up to 45,000 fans expected at Etihad Stadium this afternoon for the first Good Friday clash. North Melbourne taking on the Bulldogs. A really curious little 3-year-old boy from Kew has spent more than 5 hours with his finger stuck in the Bath plug hole. And of course, Victorians digging deep for the annual Good Friday appeal, raising much-needed funds for the Royal Children's Hospital. Plenty happening in sport. Of course, we'll have the highlights from the Doggies and Roos match, but we've tracked down Jager O'Meara. He's been plagued by knee injuries in the past, of course, missed 2 full seasons before he arrived at Hawthorn. Mark McGugan has spoken to him. He's just back. It's the first on 9, confident it won't keep him out for too long. And of course, the Swans are talking point. Zip and 4 to start the season. They are in deep trouble. That's all coming up. 9 News tonight at 6 with Brett McLeod.
Thank you, Clint, giving us that news update. Clint Stanaway, and the big story of the day with the kid's finger in the drain pipe. It's that amuses me, but plenty of news to come on Channel 9, 6 p.m, and we look forward to all that, and as well as AFL football at Etihad Stadium. Brash, and you like North Melbourne and I like Bulldogs. It's that's going to be an interesting one as well.
Sorry, Gav. Yes, it will be, but yeah, look, Kangas desperately need a win. Footscray or Western Bulldogs.
Yes.
Probably should have won last week.
Yeah, there's not much when you. They didn't stand up to the pressure, to be honest, on one day only. I think.
Well, I think the Bulldogs were entitled to have a day off. A day off, so to speak.
Yeah, they didn't have a day off in September, and I am
No.
eternally grateful.
Getting back to this game though, I'm, you know, a couple of, we talk about the midfielder and how the midfield of today is still an important. I'm going to throw this one out to you guys. I reckon a trend I noticed in the last 12 to 18 months is the role of the half-back flanker, the quality half-back flanker. We really undersell what they bring to the table now, because Kenworthy in that second quarter basically was controlling the direction of the ball, very much like Tregear, who's not having that sort of impact. Are we starting to see a bit of a trend here?
What I'm interested about, and Dave, I'll bring you in from the coach's perspective, is the amount of numbers behind ball and ground conceded, hoping that they could get the turnover deep in their defence. Both lineups tend to back their defenders and wanted to have more depth in surging. They'd rather surge from a half-back position than pushing forward and making ground up as they go. It seems like they're waiting for the fast switch to happen, and that's how the scores are happening as well.
You can do that when you've got people that use the ball well, and then that's the key, is that you can push players behind the contest, but those players, when they get the football, have got to be generally penetrating with their use of the ball. And the one thing that we found today was that Kenworthy has been penetrating with his, not with 50 and 60 metres, but his precise 20 and 30 metre kicks have been outstanding. That's where Otten has come into it and used the ball extremely well. I would think that the person you'd want to do that for Baldwin would be a Gilchrist. You need to he's just not in the game. And get Rennie in the game.
So you reckon run him off a half-back, Dave?
Run him off a half-back flank. Make him the player that can use, because one of the things he can do is kick it over lines. And that's the one thing that Baldwin haven't done. They haven't kicked it over lines. A lot of that case is because of the fact that they've got nobody to kick it to as far as their structure set up is. But if they can get back to Soiser maybe at centre forward, a bigger player at full forward, that then brings Tom Simpkin outside that contest a little bit. He becomes a one-off player. They get a little bit out of that. But back to what you were talking about, the midfielder and the half-back flank, the thing that I'm loving watching is the fact that we've got a midfielder out there today who's 4'0".
Yep.
He's a little bit of a barrel. And I tell you what, he's strong and he's tough and he runs and he contests and he kicks the ball long. And the difference at the moment is that we've got Conker, who can get his hands on the footy and use it, and the Baldwin mids have not been able to do that, and he's hit the scoreboard as well. And I'm loving seeing that now in local footy. I think it's fantastic because they were being phased out for the athletic runner.
Yep.
And I'm not saying he's not athletic, he is, he runs all day, but he's just that ball magnet at the moment. And I bet you that Baldwin wish they had someone like that. And that's where Cross has got to stand up a little bit more in the midfield and become a little bit more accountable.
Lana, what have you seen at ground level that where Blackburn are in front? What are your thoughts on it?
From what I can see, it's definitely their pace. They are exceptionally quick over the ground. Baldwin, they can't keep up with them. And I think on the flip side, when they have possession of the ball, they are generally very, very sleek with their possessions. Today they've been a little bit scrappy at times, but they rely on their ball movement to outpace the opponents, whereas Blackburn are actually able to outrun and carry that ball and therefore cross those lines as you were talking about before, Davo. So I think that if they can get the ball central and they can get it quick into the forward line, then they can really absolutely destroy Baldwin in the second half. But at the moment, they're just taking a little bit of time getting it into that forward line, even though the transition play is really quick from half back.
So do you actually think for Baldwin to get back into the game in the second half, would you think that Blackburn's intensity at the contest and the run would have to drop for them to get back into it?
Yeah, it would definitely have to drop it or completely fall away because their intensity at the contest, their tackling pressure, their forward pressure, and just their intent to be first to the footy is excellent. So if Baldwin did want to get back into this game, and obviously they are in the game, given they're not that far behind and they've been kicking point after point, they really need to get in first for the ball and just be a little bit cleaner at times when they are trying to play that possession game.
And might get a comment from Davo as the players doing their final warm-ups on the ground. The umpires have made their way to the middle of Moreton Park. Just with the shots at goal, it's been 9 behinds, but a lot of them have been rushed. If you're going to go for goal, you might as well make sure you've got the depth of kick. They seem to be putting it to the goal square where they're going to be cut off. And I wonder if tactically their propulsion forward is just they're a bit rushed.
Oh, look, definitely they've been rushed, but also when you've got a structure, when you've got a consistent, reliable structure down there, you can predict where you're going to put the football and you're going to have a contest. At the moment, they're a little bit all over the place, so sometimes they're taking their shots from that 10 metres too far out, putting it into a goal square, which for the Blackburn defenders is beautiful, allows them to punch it through. So they're also, I think I said it before, at times when you are kicking poorly, you take it upon yourself to try and stop that, and then you sometimes put pressure on the fact that you're taking the wrong shot. So I think Churgwin was one of those players that did that. So you've just got to go back to what you know best. I reckon they've got to restructure. I think they've maybe got to go back and have a look at where they're playing particular players. Forget about sometimes these fancy zones that everyone likes to play and whatever, and go back to some pretty basic stuff. It is a small ground. It is a difficult ground to move the ball slowly on. Once you move it slowly, then you can play. Opposition gets back in numbers, really difficult. Get it forward into dangerous positions often, and I think they'll be much better. But it'll just be interesting to see if they've made any change at all in what the way that they've been able to structure up, or they say to themselves, right, this team's got us out of situations many times, let's see if they get them out again. But you know what? You're 19 points behind, you've lost your first game, you're a new coach to the club, you're coming off a premiership side. There's a little bit of pressure at the moment.
And you've got to kick 4 goals to get yourself back on an even keel here.
So the siren signals that we're underway the third time. Rucks fly out. Meeson doesn't have to leap as high, being taller. Wins the tap forward, and they go through centre forward to Baldwin, and the mark has been taken by Gottliebsen.
They've moved him into the forward line, Jamie Gottliebsen. So hopefully for Marty Pask, if Gottliebsen gets on the board early, that move will have worked for him.
So one centre clearance with a spearing pass to Gottliebsen, who from 50, who looks like a straight one, doesn't get the journey. The goal umpire says play on, and now finally Blackburn rush it through. So it was only half a metre to go.
But there's a situation just that too far out. That's where the relay handball would have been perfect.
Yep.
So Blackburn with a kick out once more. Lead this game by 3 straight kicks. Goes up towards the Banks direction. Hammond in from the side, but Meeson did well to bring the ball to ground where the ball and runners are. Got Leapson to cross. Now to Bain. His kick out of traffic. He's once again under a lot of pressure and through for a minor score. Not sure if there was another option, but a minor score it is. 6-5-41. Vaughan 2-12-24.
He should have been better than that. He wasn't under that much pressure. He should have been able to classy play that, bring it back.
Kenworthy goes up the ground again, right down the middle. It's been a decision they've made a couple of times. It hasn't come off that time with McCutcheon marking now, giving to Jono Simpkin inside. Chivers flew, gave away a free, surely.
Yep.
And he has. So Campusano it is. No, I think it's going to come back to Kenworthy. In fact, it is Clay. So, a bit sloppy there by Chivers. He's been a bit like that today. A bit frustrated and hasn't quite been as smart with his body. That kick from Clay wasn't as smart either. Goebbels did well to intercept and then might have got a knee in the back of the head, but kept fighting through Goebbels. A fair few chances to get rid of that ball. Comes out to Clay again. His kick just bounces before the boundary line, and that's a great result for Blackburn. Throw in right in front of their coach's box there on the wing.
That was a really good result, I thought, for Blackburn, considering the pressure they were under there.
A great fight from Goebbels there to try and get that ball in. Just couldn't find a way out. Tossed in. Banks down to Compton. Meeson wraps him up in a strong tackle. Ball still alive, and Meeson's going to chase after it. Socio grabbed him when he didn't have it. Umpire let it go. Now fighting over the top of this one is Bain. Comes out the side. Gilchrist, strong tackle on the Blackburn player there. Tossed up again.
Blackburn will be loving this.
Yep.
They love this situation. You know, you're not scoring. It's a scramble. It's tight. It's tough. That's what they want.
And they've absorbed that pressure for the first half. No reason why they can't continue to do it again. Gilchrist eyes on top of Danaher there. Another ball up.
And they've pushed another 2 players behind the contest, Blackburn.
Meeson, great tap down across, but too close to the boundary line for him to be able to do anything with it.
And you can afford to play players behind the football when you're playing your forwards as high up as what they are.
Yep.
Because you're not allowing then the ball and players to run out of defence when the ball goes into your forward line.
41 plays 24. Meeson again with the ruck, but hasn't quite gotten it to his teammates' advantage as Danaher rose it nicely. McIntyre brought the ball to ground, and once again that's going to be another good result as he's set upon by Farron Ray. Just the man in front and smart body position by Ben McIntyre, who came into this side this week. Tossed up right on centre half forward for Blackburn. Banks to the back where Conker is, but smart by O'Regan to work his way out. Now Fraser, kick right towards the forward flank, and Goebbels worked nicely into the space to mark. Once again, he's got nothing really inside 50. He has to go across the centre half forward. Poor kick, easy mark. And Pat Compton it was, just chopped that off in front of Gottliebson. Another turnover across their forward line, and that's too easy as well. Macaulay in space, uncontested. Goes chipping low again. Finds a teammate there in Murphy. Been quiet today, Xavier Murphy, but used it well when he's had it. Good spoil behind there from Tregear. And now they're out now through Gilchrist. Takes it on. Balks round one. Now kick up towards the flank. Strong hands by Gottliebson. Come into this game up forward, as Brash said. Chipping ball over the top to Cross. He's right on the boundary line. 40 out.
This will test him if his distance here. Cross is not renowned long goal kicker here.
He is shaping up for the kick. But as you said, it's a tough angle. We've seen Luke Conker kick 2 goals in that second quarter from around about the same distance, but this angle will test him. Goes left and stays left. So I'll call by our special comments there in Wayne Brasher, and a minor score again for the Tigers. 2-13 they move to, trailing Baldwin's 6-5-41, 5 minutes gone.
If you're going to take shots from 45 out on boundary all day, you're going to find it hard to hit. You know, get the score that you want.
They're trying hard, Baldwin, but it's to no effect in terms of breaching the gap. Now the kick goes 2 kicks from full back to full forward, and it's been marked by Socho, and he takes it at full forward, and he had Churgwin all over him, but he couldn't get around him.
Pure body strength there. Beautifully out-muscled Churgwin there, one-on-one. This is a really crucial kick here because after all the attacking the Baldwin have done for the first 5 minutes, if Blackburn score a goal here, it's going to put a little more seeds of doubt.
And made it look so easy too, with two straight kicks into a one-on-one.
Exactly.
Bourne would have loved to have found that space inside 50.
From 30 metres out, noted goal kicker Socio from his VFL times. And it doesn't make the umpire work whatsoever, except to signal the goal. Forward trailing now with 13 behind 0, 2-13-25, and Blackburn have kicked out to a 22-point lead of a 7-5-47.
And the body language on some of the Baldwin players is, what can we do? That's what you're looking at. I'm looking at a few of them in that back half, and they're, I think they're a little bit lost in how they can get back into this game. I mean, and it is now the goal kicking that is starting to hurt them.
Yep.
New coach, new territory for Baldwin, trailing this game by 22, but that's something we've seen far too many times in the last couple of years as Mason brings it down to cross. His kick inside 50 was good, but Blackburn defenders, as they have been all day, just pounced on top of the Baldwin forward, and I think it might have been McCauley once again.
He's had the match up on Goebbels all afternoon. I reckon he's done a great job on him.
So centre half forward for Baldwin. This ball's tossed up. Mason, his tap was blocked by Banks. Gottliebson dived in over the top, and a free's going to be pulled out for Blackburn. Going to go the way of Faulkner, who's also been impressive. Looks to his left immediately. Danaher now up towards the Murphy direction. Strong hands and quick hands to his teammate in Socio. Takes off with a bit of pace to go inside 50. Poor kick though. Easily chopped off by Sanfilippo to Pendlebury. Strange one by Tregear, who got it over to Thorpe with his turnover, and Thorpe has all the time to find Bathy. That was shambolic. Wayne Brasher, please describe what that was to our listeners.
You described it in one. It was shambolic at its best.
2-metre kick.
Well, the issue was he was away and he handballed backwards to a player in a worse position. Just that's where they've lost confidence in their system.
But even the kick by Blackburn barely travelled 10. Should have been play on as well.
At least it found Ryan Bathy, who can line up here. Kicks out to the left. It's coming back. It's beautiful. Fine set shot kicking out here for the men in red and black at Moreton Park. And that's the difference in this Good Friday match. Blackburn 8-5-53, extending that lead. Baldwin 2-13-25.
I think Baldwin really are now in uncharted waters. Their backs are at the wall at this very given moment. They've got to find a way here to even get back into the contest, and it's going to take a lot.
They seem a bit rattled down deep in defence, with Ray trying to steady them in a position in defence. But they get the clearance, push forward into the hands of the running Van der Haar. Puts it from the centre forward position, and this time the bounce eludes the goals. And it looked like it was going through, and it took a Warney leg break. And they cannot take a trick in front of goals, can Baldwin. Just as Van der Haar put a 50-metre punt towards the goal, it turned right and missed. 2-14-26 they are. Blackburn 8-5-53. It's still a 27-point game with Blackburn 2 forward entries for 2 goals. Here's another forward entry, and off the back they go through the corridor. Big shot from 50, blowed it up just to the right. Missed effort there. And that was a McIntyre who got the ball from a sweeping hand pass out of the middle.
No talk there, because he had another 20 metres to run then. He could have ran into an open goal.
I haven't seen Baldwin opened up as easily as that for a long, long time. They were...
We've seen it a couple of times though, Davo.
Yeah, weren't even in the contest.
Weatherald's kick finds Gilchrist, who's, as we said, been sloppy by foot. Kick's just going to work to Gottliebson. Had a man hot on his tail. Now he's going to come out towards the broadcast position. Pendlebury, who's been impressive, goes the handball to Simpkin, just within his reach, but they're under the pump. O'Regan has to be clean with his kick. He is. Finds a teammate in McCutcheon now with a bit of a run as O'Regan takes off, takes a bounce, could pick it quite back up, and great work by Vazzari to smother his path. Blackburn all over the Tigers at the moment. They cannot find any space.
One bloke for Baldwin that can hold his head high is O'Regan. I reckon he's really tried hard. He's been doing a lot of gut running for him to try and create opportunity, but it's just not happening for his teammates, Gav.
Lesson, don't bounce it.
Thrown back in on the wing. Watts did well to find Simpkin, and found Rennie Gilchrist, Camposano leads his teammate to the ball. Great defending by the Blackburn posse as Vazari finds McCauley, finds Conson, and they clear, and once again they're out over the back. McIntyre is that man again. He's got Bathy at centre-half forward. He's held up nicely by Taylor Gilchrist and slows play down. Bourne get numbers back. Poor kick by McIntyre. Through the legs across though. Blackburn still a chance. Hammond attacking, pressing up on Simpkin. Great effort was Bathy. Now Watts under pressure. Great work, and Blackburn can get out the back. Fumbly, Bathy. Now they're out. Forrest Thorpe goals. Second, third, fourth efforts by a number of Blackburn players. Hudson was in there, was tremendous, but Thorpe gets the goal, and Blackburn, full reward, to be honest. They've been brilliant so far this third term, and they're running away with it here. 9-6-60. Ball went 2-14-26. We've gone 12 minutes here on EFL Good Friday football.
Their intensity in their forward half then to keep the ball in, even the one where they turned the ball over on the wing, the intensity of their running, they just pressured and pressured and pressured the entire time. Ball then got turned over in Baldwin's forward line, and then they ran super hard across to the opposite side, and away they went again. Look, you've got to give them credit. Their structures have held up well, and they've really played to them extremely well.
And Alana was right at half-time. She said if Blackburn really upped the ante on their leg speed, they'd be troubling Baldwin, and it's exactly what's happening here.
So the pressure's on Baldwin now, but they'll get another clearance, and now the runners are out through Fraser. Drives the pass in, and a good one. Honours the lead. Meter gap, and Goebbels was good to mark it. A touch who had looked like Goebbels rushing forward. It was a great lead, and the fact that he only needed half a metre to maintain the advantage. Simpkin, who will be dreading the fact that he missed from 10 metres out.
This is the most important kick of the game for Baldwin.
2-14, a Baldwin. Simpkin missed from 10 metres out, and he's missed now from 40 metres out. So it's 2-15-27. They trail by 33 points. They have created their own problems here, Baldwin, and Blackburn are 9-6-60.
Yeah, well, now it's become symptomatic of their play.
Once again, straight up the guts from the kick out. Faulkner, Bathy's there, off a couple of Baldwin hands. Hammond found Conson, whose handball to space was well attacked by Vazari, jumped upon by Bain, and it's going to be a ball up once more. And that tactics worked a couple of times really well, Davo, that kick-out option.
Yeah, they've worked that well. Look, they are playing the ground beautifully, aren't they? They know this ground, they're playing it well. I like this young Vazari.
Yeah.
He's going hard at it, isn't he?
Blackburn Junior, who played at Box Hill.
Yeah.
And has been one of their players that have played when he hasn't got a game at Box Hill. Really quality. He was a quality junior, and he's done some nice things, Davo, today.
And this young Hudson has just come back on. Again, his forward pressure has been excellent. You know?
Another one of the talented Blackburn juniors in this side.
Exactly, Josh.
He's just annoying to the defenders, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Gets in.
Watts barreled over the back to force the tap as Hammond made his way off the ground for a blood rule. Ball going to be locked up again.
I think the umpire gave Gottlieb some benefit of the doubt there, because that looked like a throw to me.
About 70 out, 60 out probably from the ball and goal. Well done by Bathy. Not a proven ruckman, but used his body well. Here's that man Hudson, just bounced over his head. Great tackle on Ray, though. Just got a handball out. Sanfilippo's under a lot of pressure. And that's a brilliant effort by those half-forwards from Blackburn. Relentless tackling on the ball carrier, something we haven't seen necessarily from Baldwin.
No.
Just a ball up. Watts, hands down, crosses there, and once again they're tight on the boundary line, and Socho forces him over.
That's the other thing that's interesting. They're playing a loose man ball, and Tregear's playing as a loose. He's just playing in the wrong spot. He's in the contest all the time. He's not got a space to be able to run and create.
Over the back, Watts probably could have got a free kick. He'll pick up this bouncing ball at the back, though, and just sit his foot into it. Goes about 80 in the air. No one can take a clean mark. Trying to claim it there, I think, was a Blackburn player, but is this ball still going, or has there been a free? I'm not sure what's happening here. It's free kick it is to Goebbels. Not really sure where that came from, but anyway, he's got it 50 out from home and goes left with a switch into the middle. Weatherall has been quiet today. His handball was poor, cut off by Hudson. If they can be clean, they're out here. Conker's kick, though. He had Fagan with a run, but he went too far, and Pendlebury was defending well and mopped up, and his switch over to Sanfilippo is good. Went to play on, no clear option there under the pump. Gilchrist takes on the tackler, gets a handball out to Meeson, sticks it on his boot. And there's been a bit of a free here. Yeah, there's something off the ball.
It was when Gilchrist got tackled after he was rushed, and now the fight's gone from there.
I think Sochio was who cleaned him up. We're going to see a bit of a replay here. Yeah, he came in pretty hard, did Julian Sochio, so the free kick's going to go the way of ball, and it's still a bit of remonstrating, but comes back to Gilchrist. So a chance to try that again. Once again, he looks up the field. He's got nothing. Has to go back to Pendlebury. And they have to look to open up the ground with a switch. It's a better option, though, because Weatherall's got a few numbers ahead of the ball if he can hit them. He's got to be clean. His kick's a bit too much height. Coming in from the side, Max Otten. He's been superb.
He's done nothing wrong today, I'll tell you, Maxie Otten.
Punches it out for a throw-in.
But again, Blackburn allowed that. They don't mind if they're getting those kicks there because they push those players back, zone off, and they're always going to be kicking to a contest. So, Baldwin, Blackburn are happy for him to just switch out there.
Ball, and it's just ahead of the centre wing on the outer side, but Fagan gets the hand pass in front of him, kicks it around the corner, keeps it in, but it's been chopped off by Tregear. It's been relatively quiet, gets it to Sanfilippo, who likes an open, expansive game, goes backwards, and now they concede ground, Baldwin, as they just try to compose themselves through McCutcheon, who looks right, then left, now is played on. He's been corralled deep in defence. He trusts Rennie Gilchrist, and he pops it up and put Churgwin under a heap of problems. He got a free over the top just because he held front position, and he put his body on the line and reward for that. He's got a runner out wide, but he's stopped in his tracks with the kick. Van der Haak at half forward. He kicks it into the man of the mark like he was passing it to him. Bounces back to Van der Haak. Van der Haak gets taken down to ground, and here go Blackburn. They'll kick it instead of run with ball, and reading it is Chris Pendlebury. And on the bounce, he kicks it backwards, and Baldwin are conceding ground because they have had all matter of trouble going forward. Tregear under a heap of pressure, pushed his kick, and it goes to half back and out.
And I have got an interesting stat. The last time Baldwin lost 2 in a row was round 17 and 18 in the year 2014.
What? Oh, 14, okay. I was almost saying 1990s or something.
Well, Blackburn haven't beaten Baldwin, I don't think, ever, Brash. I'm not sure if that's been a stat you can conjure up for us as this ball's tossed back in. Cross, high under the pump. Simpkin applied good pressure but was ripped off it by Sochio, and it was a bit too high, so Simpkin's going to get the free. This is Jonathan. Short kick into the middle to O'Regan.
He's really roughed him up, Sochio, hasn't he?
Forced to play on, and O'Regan and Sochio going at it once again off the ball.
You're right.
Simpkins kick to cross, and he's going to get a 25-metre penalty. So it's a little bit of argy-bargy, bit of heat in this one, but regardless, Baldwin, I've just got to try and hit the scoreboard. It's not about these fights. I've got to try and beat them here playing football. That kick from cross inside 50, good punch over the back, working out nicely. Now they got Otten, who's been very good. Vazari's been tremendous too. Goes onto the left.
Kick.
Great kick into the space for Jake Hammond to lead into. Don't have a lot inside 50. He has to hold it up for a little bit here, Hammond. He's right in front of the coach's box.
He had Fagan if he was quick.
He's still there, Fagan. Goes further afield towards McIntyre, but over the back and out of bounds.
He's tried hard, young Watkin, but he just hasn't been able to get his hand on the ball. He just can't get his hands on it at the moment.
35 out from goal. This ball will be tossed up right in front of us here. The lovely club rooms at Moreton Park. Mason in the ruck. One up by Banks though. Murphy got time. It comes to Vazari though. Quick kick to a dangerous position. Thorpe at the back can fly. Good effort. Brought it to ground. Tricky under pump now with Hudson applying some good pressure, but got a good hand to Weatherald. Still pressure on Blackburn. Now Churgwin can
downfield
allow it to go out, and yep, ball going to go downfield. Well called, Brash. Churgwin once again chopped off the ball. This ball's still going. Umpires let it go. Gilchrist takes some time, stops some props, finds Weatherall on the far side wing. Bit more run now from the Tigers. Low spearing kick, great pressure applied. This ball's still alive. It was Faulkner who was the great defensive effort. Now to Otten. His kick towards the wing, Fagan out the back, couldn't quite mark it on the run, but great effort and gets cleaned up from the side. The umpire's going to let it go. It could have probably been high. The knee, I think, came sliding in of Weatherdorp onto Fagan. And the umpire's just going to ball it up.
There was no intent, but it was just the man was there and he gets a knee in the back. It's a free kick.
Tossed up, far side wing, Bathy to ground. No one to pick it up first. Conson overran it. And then forced Farron Ray to jump on top of his own teammate, so it'll be a ball up once more.
I tell you what, one thing we've found today is that Blackburn are a tough team, putting Conker and Socio in this side. I tell you what, they've got a little bit of brood about them.
Great work there by Thorpe to lock that ball up. It's going nowhere. You really can't see where Baldwin are going to get the way out of this. 21 and a half minutes gone. It's an impressive 33-point lead.
Over 70 minutes since they've got a goal.
High tackle, surely it is. I think it's Thorpe who's going to get that for Blackburn.
And you can add Campusano to that mix too in the back line, Davo.
Yep.
So Mitch Thorpe just goes back, just sets himself, takes some time and sets it right to the top of the square. Bathy and Hammond, the two big targets. Well done by Shivers though to punch it out of bounds. 15 out from the Blackburn goal.
Teams are not going to like to come to Moreton Park, I can tell you that now.
Not this year.
It's been an impressive performance by this Blackburn outfit, putting a stamp on Division 1 with this effort today. Tossed back in, searching for a fourth goal in the term. Baldwin yet to hit it. Thorpe out the back. Underground handball finds Conker, who snapped around the body. Not going to be far enough, going to be play on. Chivers the punch. Bathy applies the tackle. Hudson over the top. Thorpe, bit of space, ducks around one. Comes out to McIntyre. Snap around the body, he's too fine. And a minus score, a rare blip on the Blackburn score line. 9-7-61. Baldwin 2-15-27. 22 and a half minutes gone here on Radio Eastern 98.1, the home of all your Eastern Football League action.
Chris Pendlebury kicks to himself and runs through the back line and kicks it to the wing. Maybe not, it was ill-directed, so the punch comes down at ground level to Socio, who just couldn't control it, so it bounces back to the boundary line wing, and the ball's finally taken over. So I think there's some tired players as this quarter starts to wrap up. It's been a very aggressive contact game, and they dust themselves off for a boundary throw-in. Centre wing, broadcast side here at Moreton Park, 61 plays 27. 34-point lead to the Burners. Boundary throw in. Meeson gets the front position, worked it from back. He taps it backwards to San Filippo, who gets wrapped up in a tackle, and he likes open space. He likes to keep the possession running, and he just doesn't. He's been harassed and strangled in effect. Meeson, tap down. Has he got support through Simpkin? Simpkin just paddles it to the boundary line because there is no space around the contest for the Baldwin midfielders.
It's been their best friend today, Gav.
Well, it's certainly not the goal umpire. He doesn't like him. It's 2-15, and they kicked the first two goals of the game. 10 minutes into the first term was the last time they scored a goal, and we are now 24 minutes gone, third term.
Gee, you wouldn't have heard that too many times with the Baldwin side. But then they only kicked 6 last week.
Yep.
It's an issue.
Meeson just he got all under it. But the ball's now being pushed forward, and Tregear pushes it in the middle corridor. Yeah, it hits a teammate. Meeson's being used as a 1-2, and that works out as the kick from O'Regan finds Gilchrist, Taylor Gilchrist. Nice runner as well, who's just been stopped in his tracks.
Got nothing again.
He looks left at all occasions so far this quarter, and now he just drops it down the line where the Burners will love this. The fist comes in, and at ground level it's so predictable. The turnover to Danner on the bounce, sweeping left-handed to Conker. Conker boundary side, hooks it back to centre forward. Hammond works his body, numbers with Baldwin. Churgwin to Simpkin, and Simpkin spears a short one in. Push was a bit late, might be a penalty. And it will be a 25-metre penalty, and Bain will take it from centre of Moreton Park to centre half forward. He would be in kicking distance, but for Baldwin have not got a goal at that distance.
Is he giving another? No, he's called play on.
Play on. It's all confused everyone. Here's Tom Simpkin. Will he get the hardest kick of his day? No, he misses to the left again. So it's Tom Simpkin, who was called to play on 50 metres out boundary side, misses to the left. 2-16-28. They trail by 33. That is Blackburn 9-7-61, leading Baldwin 2-16-28.
And that's the thing. Why would they get the ball in the central corridor and then go out to the boundary line again? I don't understand it.
Clay in that back pocket, told to move on, goes long. Chivers the spoil on McIntyre, and out it goes. Right in front of the wing. Some good numbers have come in, Brash. Most of them in red, but it's been a successful experiment, this Good Friday football.
Yeah, great turnout from the Blackburn people today.
We've been lucky as well, that rain's held off and turned out to be a relatively nice day, especially, as I said, for those in red and black, as once again, Socho has been demanding in this third quarter. Bit of pressure on Fagan, and his turnover to Churgwin was good, but a great smother coming in over the top by Windle, and Blackburn are going to work this one out just. They'd take a stoppage at centre-half back here, and that's what they'll get.
Even when Blackburn make a mistake, Baldwin can't make them pay.
It wasn't pretty, but it just works out.
I tell you what, there'll be a lot of coaches in First Division watching the first two games that Baldwin have played, because there is a bit of a method here, isn't there?
Yep.
Wrapped up in a strong tackle was Danaher. He's not going anywhere.
Last week I said it was the tackling, Dave, the intensity of the tackling. Once again, it's happened again today.
Yep.
Great punch by Watts, but Conson mops up his work. Socio fumbled where he should have been clean. Now Clay overruns it. Fraser, handball across, but he's under immediate pressure. Now Tom Simpkin goes over the top to Ray. He's forced out. He just gets a snap around the body right into a dangerous position. Great work, Macaulay. Forced it. Gilchrist has to go. He just touched. Great work. I think it was Macaulay again on the goal line. It is, yes. Gilchrist had a time and space 15 out. He's high up and under snap, touched by a diving Macaulay, and it's another minor score for Baldwin.
He's been super, Macaulay, hasn't he?
Done a great job on Jeff Goebbels.
Pretty late now in this third term. 9-7-61. Baldwin 2-17-29. As it lands in the hands of Xavier Murphy in the back pocket.
Just starting to come into the game here, Murphy. Second half especially.
So he stopped still at the defence, so he puts it to half back. Flyer in Socho just brings it to ground. It's still in, and he kicked it while he was in. Did the Blackburn player? No, he was out because he kicked it straight at left, and that's out on the full normally.
There was a situation again where two Baldwin guys went up and Blackburn were ready for the crumbs when Baldwin didn't take the mark.
Yep.
So I think now Baldwin are reacting to Blackburn's movements, and that first 10 minutes was crucial, just where Blackburn soaked up the pressure and responded with goals. Now the bundled clearance for Blackburn gets it to Vizari again, but his hand pass worked wide, not to his teammate, and Shergwin couldn't keep it in for Baldwin, as they were hoping to go forward late in this third term. 28 minutes and a half gone in this third term, and Baldwin, since quarter time, have kicked 16 behind. Watts wins the tap down. Shergwin puts his body over. Ray helps him out. His kick's smothered, but it still goes forward for Baldwin only by metres. And Blackburn finally get their body over the line and will get rewarded with a free kick just because the tackle by O'Regan was too fierce. And dusting himself off is Danaher, and he's got all the time in the world just to steady. Gets a short kick to a teammate in Compton, centre of Moreton Park. Fagan's looking for short. Another short on, and it's a good lead honoured. And it's taken by Socio.
He worked hard then.
Julian Socio gets his spearing pass in, and it's been marked on the lead by Watkins. So that was just precision football.
That was well played.
Socio ran probably 35 metres down, 40 metres into the pocket, turned his player around, and then everybody ran up the ground. They left a huge hole. He just ran into the hole. It was really good football.
We haven't seen much of Watkins. He might be used in the future in ruck contest, I reckon, to get himself involved in the game. But this will just be a nail in the confidence of Baldwin, because they've been shattered by the misses and they've been destroyed by the accuracy of the set shots from the Burners. Here comes Watkins. It's a floater, but it's a straight one. Goal number 10, Blackburn 10-7-67, leading Baldwin 2-17-29. It is a 38-point game, and Blackburn have had less shots at goal.
Another goal in red time, right on the siren. That really has put the game in Blackburn's keeping here, I feel. I just can't see how Baldwin are going to get back in the contest here.
Yeah, there's just nothing about, no fluency with the way that they're playing. And Blackburn are just outplaying them, are out-muscling them, outrunning them, and outsmarting them at the moment.
38-point margin in favour of Blackburn. Reddy Gilchrist bursts out of the middle. Kick was pretty poor at the front, attacking it nicely. Should have been a free given away against Blackburn. I think the umpire didn't quite see it, and instead it'll be a ball up on top of Baldwin's attacking 50. And there's the siren regardless. So fantastic late goal, as Brash said, as Blackburn put the stamp on Division 1 football with what has been a commanding performance over the reigning premiers. 10-7-67. They lead heading into the final break. 2-17 Baldwin are. It's a 38-point margin. It's dominating football. It is definitely a statement from the Red Army out here at Moreton Park. Good Friday football. You're listening to 98.1 Radio Eastern. Make sure you stick around. Big final quarter action to come as the Panthers look to finish off in style.
Hey man, I've got some weekend goals. First, wake up around lunchtime. Oh yeah. Second, go into Pancake Parlour and get one of their traditional breakfasts because it's served till 5 p.m. every day.
Oh, you gotta go to Pancake Parlour for your weekend goals. Yeah, what else?
And then when I'm all full,
like in your belly,
just sit on the couch and watch me team kick some winning goals.
Bang!
Goal! Pancake Parlour's weekend goals.
Up and about and lovely.
Program sponsor.
जिंदगी से लुत्फअंदोज होते हुए
Świętować życie.
Го прославуваме животот.
Celebrating lives. Tobin Brothers Funerals speaks your language. At Tobin Brothers Funerals, they attend to every religion and culture and can speak 28 languages.
Celebrate la vie.
庆祝生命。
Yortazuntas
Find out more at tobinbrothers.com.au. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating diversity as they celebrate lives.
Program sponsor.
Never miss out on the latest information on the Eastern Football League through the league's social media channels. Live updates, information and scores through the league's Twitter account. The latest news and views on Facebook. Don't miss EFL Game Day or the Match Footage Hub on YouTube. And all those happy snaps on the league's Instagram account. Simply search Footy EFL. A new time and a new team, driving you home in 2016. Join a brand new lineup for The Huddle as the gang take a light-hearted look at the Eastern Football League every Friday night. More importantly, the team will reveal the ins and outs for this week's round of matches. The Huddle, 4:30 to 6:30 every Friday evening as you love it local.
Dave and his mates are flying to the Gold Coast to watch their team play the Suns. Do they B, pay too much for a taxi, C, hope for an airport rail link this century, or D, get a lift from a mate and hope for the best when they fly home?
What about A for A1 Airport Parking?
At A1 Airport Parking, get 2 days for $25, 3 days for $34, or get 7 days parking for just $69. And at just 5 minutes from the airport, they'll get you there in time for your flight and pick you up when you get home. Show your footy or sporting club membership anytime you park and get 10% off. A1airportparking.com.au.
Program sponsor.
Up the Mitcham Tigers!
Ah, the Burners.
Let's go, Panthers.
Well, Mark. Let's go, doggies.
Tobin Brothers Funerals, serving all supporters in the Eastern Football League since 1934. Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Program sponsor.
EFL.org.au is the place to be online for all the latest on the Eastern Football League. Keep up to date by checking out the latest news and feature articles. Have your say in the EFL poll. Check out all the latest EFL videos, and best of all, you can listen back to any EFL radio program at any time. Head to EFL.org.au. The Eastern Football League. Local footy at its best.
Welcome back to Moreton Park, Blackburn, where we're having a mini shock on Good Friday. It's Eastern Football League Division 1 football for the first time ever on this date, being Good Friday. But it's going to be memorable because of the scoreline. The Premiers probably haven't lost 2 in a row for a few years now. But Blackburn, 10-7-67, go into the fourth quarter, leading by 38 points over Baldwin, who have kicked 2 goals, 17-29. Yes, that's right, 2-17. 2-1 in the first quarter to 3-3, with Blackburn getting over the top in the second half of the quarter. Since then, Baldwin have kicked 9 points in the second term and 7 in the third, where Blackburn have hurt them with their set shots being so accurate. but that would deny Blackburn's dominance around the contest, and that's where I draw in our special comments experts, Brett Davidson and Wayne Brasher, to talk about the third quarter and the match in general.
Well, Davo, we said the opening 10 minutes we're going to be the important tale of the tape here, and even though the goals didn't come in that opening 10 minutes, Blackburn soaked up whatever pressure ball and we're going to throw at them, and then threw it back in their face coming towards the end of the quarter.
I was super impressed with Blackburn that quarter. I just thought that, again, you're exactly right, Brash. They soaked up the pressure. It's all right to look at the scoreboard and go, oh yeah, Baldwin have kicked 17 points, but if you have a look at where they've kicked their points from, they've had a couple of easier shots, but they're having their shots from 45 on the boundary, both sides in all quarters, or they're having quick snaps around, or they're having shots from 65 out and putting it into the goal square and having it punched through. They've just had no system at all today, and we've spoken about that regularly, whereas you can see that Blackburn have been consistent with their floating players across half-back, their discipline, their structures have been fantastic, and when they've got it, they've now used their pace to continue to run. And look, cannot be more impressed with Blackburn, and I just cannot believe I'm watching the Baldwin Football Club.
This is not the side. This is not the side that we sat and watched last year.
And Brash, if anything, they've probably added to the squad that they had in the grand final. It's not like they've lost 10 of their best players.
Yeah, but they lost Gordon. Wasn't he the X factor on grand final day?
He was, but I mean, he's only one. And look, they've added 3 quality footballers.
Yeah, but they haven't done, the thing is, though, I mean, the 3 players that they've brought in haven't hurt the opposition yet, Davo.
No, and it's because you've got a couple of them.
Farron Ray's not going to do any damage with Sinkin playing off a half-back flank.
That's right. That's right.
You know, they play forward. Though in the AFL, they play forward and kick goals. They're not going to win you a game of football playing off a half-back and unaccountable, and that's what they were. They're creative players. They need to be where the ball is in the forward line, not accountable for a play in the back line, because it's just not their style.
And at ground level, they've nullified Meeson's ruck advantage.
Without a doubt. Now, they have made some changes. Penderreeling's gone full forward by the look of it.
Yeah.
They have put Ray in the forward line, so they are throwing caution. Oh, they have to. They've got to try something.
They have to.
Fourth quarter, Blackburn v Baldwin. Blackburn 67, Baldwin 29. Again, Baldwin win the stoppage, cross waxing with a teammate. Now the hand pass comes out wide and they finally kick it inside 50. The bouncing ball is a hot contest. Tom Simpkin tried to run through the pack of players, couldn't take the ball with him. Blackburn holding up nicely, and McIntyre has taken the tackle by Jonathan Simpkin.
That was great play there by Kenworthy. He put his body on the line there and got a stoppage out of an unlosable situation.
Well, Meeson was hoping he was tapping down to a Baldwin player, but they're not reading his taps. The kick cleared, now comes back inside 50, where Meeson just tries to barge his way through the pack, but Blackburn have got the numbers and they've got the outriders in McIntyre, who runs from half back with the green boots, spears the ball towards Hammond, one hand pushing away his defender. He tries to bring it into his stomach, and on the second grab at it, he just really establishes a pack. Meeson's on the wing, with the numbers suiting Blackburn with the opposing ruckman in Banks. Gets it into the middle, might be a dangerous hand pass. The hand pass comes towards Banks, who's close to the half-back boundary line. Steady composure from Danaher. Puts a high up and under, though, where the 3 players from Blackburn just push it forward, and now Baldwin try to get some numbers to the contest, but again the composure's with Conton from Blackburn. Hand passes are going through the middle wing. Now McCauley was on the run. The ball was just ahead of him as he was about to burst forward, and the pack come in the centre corridor and hold it up centre of Morton Park, and we go boundary side with Alana Coleman.
A little bit cleaner with the handballs, so it was interesting to see that they have cleaned it up a little bit so far.
Thanks to Alana Coleman, working wonderfully on the boundary line here at Morton Park, as Cross kicks it inside 50, gets all the way to Pendlebury, but the numbers are there to sweep up from Blackburn, and the Burners short kick by Kenworthy. He pushed his kick, gets it to Thorpe. Thorpe tries to run away his opponent, but used the boundary line as his saviour, and it's going to be a boundary throw in, half back for Blackburn, half forward for Baldwin.
It'd be pretty difficult being a forward at the moment at Baldwin. They've had 2 kicks forward, one a reverse torque that landed nowhere, and another one a snap that had all the forwards coming forward over the top. So that's hurting them.
Been a constant message we've seen today is Danaher surely has to be pinged, and he has tried fighting through 3 tackles. I think it's going to come O'Regan, spearing little balls, a nice one, and Goebbels coming hard and fast out of the goal square, takes a nice chest mark, 40 out, 45-degree angle. Needs this goal if Baldwin have any hope left in the game.
Well,
Sport beds odds.
Well, at least he's in a position,
Yes.
right, where he actually can have a genuine shot. This shouldn't be too hard for Jeff Goebbels.
So as our man Gav Casey said, no Baldwin goal since about the 10-minute mark of the first term. Jeff Goebbels will kick right from the paint of 45. It's on the way. Umpire doesn't move a bit, and it's through.
It's a goal.
So an important goal for Jeff Goebbels, an important goal for Baldwin. With 3.5 minutes gone, put a little bit of closing pressure on that Blackburn lead. 10-7-67 the Panthers. Baldwin 3-17-35.
And the Baldwin crowd went wild with
Yes, I was
excitement.
about to say. It was
Can't rely on the crowd on the away game.
the elation from the masses. I think they've just been smothered into a coma, really. Yeah, it's not been a great day in front of goals for Baldwin, but at least they keep trying. They know where their advantage is. It's in the centre corridor. But as soon as Blackburn lock down, that's where Blackburn can come again with the secondary bounce.
I like their structure at least now. Pendlebury straightens them up a little bit, so that helps them.
Meeson wins the tap cross. Has got a man wearing him like a shirt. The quick kick goes around the corner, running with the flight of it. Nice effort there from Blackburn. Macaulay's trying to keep his team out of trouble. His hand pass was a bit fierce for his teammate. Big tackle, keeps the ball in the area for Baldwin. Fraser picks it up. His kick was a bit of a dribbler, smothered off the boot. Macaulay's there deep in his own defence. That little hand pass inboard is beautiful because they're off to the races through Conton. And Conton's kick just went over the top of his teammate and out of bounds. Vasari.
He's done some nice things today, Clinton.
He has, hasn't he?
So they work nicely and tight with ball and just struggle to open the game up to their own advantage.
They haven't been allowed to, Gav.
That's true, and the implied pressure now is immense.
And that's what it was then. It was implied pressure.
So Meeson again, position, but the Rovers this time was Fagan, gives it to Thorpe. Thorpe just kicks it as long as he can. He's got working there in Watkins. He lets it go over his head, but he creates a stoppage half forward this time for Blackburn.
I reckon one of the things Blackburn have been extremely happy about, Hammond and Bathy probably as their key forwards haven't had any sort of input on the contest today, yet they're still 32 points in front.
Tossed up, 55 from home for the Blackburn side. They're dominating this one. Conker, nice little mark from a snap out of that pack. He's going to go back and have a shot, and why not? Kicked 2 really nice long-distance goals from the far side. This one...
Gee, I reckon he's lucky not to get a 25 because I reckon Meeson ran through the mark there.
I agree. I thought exactly the same thing as soon as he did. I thought, oh, this is 25.
He doesn't need it, though.
So pretty much in the opposite flank from where he kicked those 2 second-half goals. It's going to test the legs on him here. Searching for his third. Kick on the way. It's going to fall short. Flies at the back. Great effort there by Watkins, it might have been, or Bathy. Ball still alive at the front of it. Fighting over the top. Vasari's in there. So too Hammond. It's going to be a ball up, though. Chance still for Blackburn.
That's
right in the pocket.
That's one thing young Watkins can do, is take a big mark, as he did a couple of years ago.
Meeson drove nicely by Danaher. Chivers overran it. Bathy's hot on his tail. Risky handball from Chivers over to Gottliebson. Keeps it in. Handball over the top to McCutcheon. Conker tried tackling him. Good body work by McCutcheon to overthrow him. Found Gilchrist, who played on immediately. Shot off to his right. Hits a teammate in O'Regan. Good kick now to Bain. Looks to go inside. He does to Taylor Gilchrist, who's been working hard up the ground. Short kick to his brother in Rennie. Needs some movement. Doesn't have a lot. Has to go short again to Bain. This is all by foot working up the far wing. Bain once again looking inside. Has to go backwards. to Chivers. Not sure you want it in his hands, but he goes backwards. The safe option, he got Leibson trying to open up the ground. It's a good kick, but Blackburn are going to cover this nicely. Weatherald got O'Regan in short, ignores that option, and Blackburn just have time to set up their zone and look to go back inside in Weatherald, but found a nice kick up in cross.
Well,
they just can't get it over this halfway point though, Brash.
Well, they've had 24 disposals for a net gain of 12 yards.
Pendlebury flies, couldn't grab it as Cross's kick went inside 50. Goebbels tried taking on their tackler and McCauley, who's been brilliant this final term. Cotton's kick though was poor to Fraser from 50 out. Fraser's kick, that would have been nice, but it's just a behind. 10-7, 67. Bourne cut the lead to 31 points, 3:18, 36, 8 minutes gone. Blackburn still defending hard right till the end of this game.
Fraser's doing some nice things. He's trying hard, and you excuse him for that kick at goal because he worked his way through some pressure there. The kick out was nicely marked, an honoured ball, and McCauley is great overhead and strong in the contest, and he was in back position, so that was good play for Blackburn to get the mark there. Kick down the line. Chivers comes in late, doesn't give away the free kick, stands up in the tackle, now gives a hand pass off. The hand pass goes in the corridor, crunch, go the players, and the umpire sees a free kick to go to Baldwin because it was a bit of a harsh tackle.
Harsh. It was soft.
As now the ball flies inside 50. Here's Pendlebury, just gone underneath it, and he was pushed, says the umpire. He really dropped it before he got pushed, and he's a bit lucky, is Pendlebury.
He got a free kick for perceived pressure there.
I think it was Faulkner coming in from the side there. Campusano wasn't to blame. I think it was that second man coming in.
Yeah, it was.
So I think even Blackburn thought he was in good position to take the mark, but he spilled it, and then the push came in. So Pendlebury, if he kicks this, it'll be a 25-point game. From 40 metres out, he's making the goal umpire work left, but he comes back to the middle to signal the goal. 4:18, that is a total of 42. They trail Blackburn 10-7, 67. 10 minutes gone, final term. Is there hope?
There's always hope because it's not like they're 10 goals down, and they've played a little bit better. Again, I think they're at least structured up a little bit better. It all comes down to whether Blackburn can maintain the pressure and not panic at all, because sometimes that can happen when you're in front. You don't know how to win these games, but I would expect Blackburn still to win it.
These 5 or 6 kicks still is their lead. Blackburn as that centre clearance goes nowhere. It'll be locked up again. 10 minutes into this final term of Good Friday EFL action out at Moreton Park. Good work there by Watts to get it down to a teammate. Fagan, finds some space. And by Compton, handball out to Otten, who's pressed up the ground, goes left, goes right, sticks it on the left boot, out of bounds on the full. So he's done very well today, Max Otten. It's not one of his best efforts, but
it was good pressure then by the Baldwin midfield there, try and force a turnover.
Probably a little bit too late, but they're still going to give it a red hot crack as O'Regan looks to press forward. His kick finds Rennie Watts. Gives it off straight away. It was a poor decision to Shivers. Great work. Should have been holding the ball. Umpire let it go. Now it's Socio, and that man Hammond, I think, who applied that first tackle is wrapped up, and over the line he goes. It definitely should have been holding the ball. I think, was it Hammond, fellas, that applied that tackle?
Yeah, it was. Look, the other guy may have just got his foot to it as he kicked it slightly. That's the only way I can think it wasn't holding the ball. But at least I didn't mind the fact that they played on.
Haven't minded Jake Hammond's game. He's been pushed up the ground a lot, and even though he hasn't only kicked the one goal, his presence around the ground, I feel, has been really strong for a high half forward. And that's all you can ask for if you're not going to be hitting the target.
Yeah, you're right, Josh.
Hitting the sticks. So it's still thrown in on the far wing out here at Moreton Park. Great work by Banks out the back, but Rennie Gilchrist was there. Snap inside towards a goal was Direction, who should have taken a mark. Dropped one he should have taken. He's still got a chance. De Soy's run down hard from behind, and Blackburn going to get away with this without conceding anything. McCauley dances left and right on the goal line, finds a free man in McIntyre, and they're away now. McIntyre, short ball to Watkins, had to pick it up on the bounce. Great turn and great handball to find McIntyre in space. Van der Haag corralled him nicely, but brilliant vision to find Constant in the middle of the ground, who's out, kick towards Hammond, takes the chest mark. That's how you do it, Blackburn Football Club. Drop mark down one end, clean the skills out of the other, and Jake Hammond marks directly in front just after some praise for a good result. He'll get a chance to kick his second.
And look, you're right. Gobles drops a regulation chest mark down here. Ball gets turned. Gee, they played it well though, didn't they? Nice skills, forward leading up.
This will ice it from Hammond. It's off to the right. Missed chance there by Big Jake. Minor score, 10-8-68. Ball in 4-18-42. Still a 26-point ball game as we tick into 13 minutes.
Revel kicks it out. He found Gilchrist, who goes long to half forward. He puts Pendlebury at task because he was underneath it. Now Blackburn emerge through Murphy. Works at low level. Kept in by Blackburn, and now the switch is on because the kick goes to Clay at the point of half back. Broadcast side, goes to the outer side now through Otten. Otten picks it up, had time to spill it and go again. He hand passes to the running Kenworthy. Kenworthy, big leap! No Specky there. And it's come down to ground as we all come down to earth. So we see on the replay how high the player gets. Well, he was there early and Forbes couldn't bring it down. But that was excitement plus. And would have been definitely mark of the day. Cross works with hands with a teammate, and they're trying to get out for Revelwald, who gets a short on and finds a teammate in De Souza, who kicked the first goal of the game. Now the running cross gets it into the path of his Gilchrist. He has to wait for it. Punches forward to a teammate. Nicely played to Ray. Ray's been wrapped up. It's got to be holding the ball, and they cannot get any advantage from their play forward. It's just one errant kick that Blackburn just come good with.
Another contender there for the Westfield Knox player of the day by Fagan. He's been brilliant. He's going to get 25 metres as well for his reward.
Yeah, so Fagan emerged late onto Ray, and Ray had nowhere to go. And a 25-metre penalty gives Fagan some breathing room to take it out of defence. He's looking backwards and sideways. Kicked 2 goals in that first quarter that got Blackburn on their way in this contest, after Baldwin dominated the first 10 to 15 minutes.
I'm not going to say that Ray did the right thing, but Gilchrist knocked it over to him, and it wasn't a great knock, then ran forward. If he'd come back to at least support him, he may have been able to get away with the football, but, nothing's working for him at the moment.
Otten from half-back gets his kick chopped out, so it'll come towards half-forward again for Baldwin, but it's not directed to anyone in particular, and the line might win out, but Blackburn don't necessarily see that as their mission. And coming out of the pack is Ray, trying to redeem himself, but he's high up and under, puts a heap of pressure on all comers. The ball comes to ground where it's all red and black, but the umpire says advantage will be paid, and the run comes now through the defence of Vizari, who's good, but he puts it in front of Fagan, hoping he'd run onto it, but it allows Tom Simpkin to turn it over. So Simpkin gets it onto his running teammate, Gilchrist, and now Simpkin, Jonathan, takes a mark on the stretch, and the fence was coming quick at him, so that was good play by Simpkin. So from 40 metres out, 15 and a half minutes gone, final term. The margin is 26. You'd have to think that Simpkin would have to convert this kick for Baldwin to still have a chance at winning this round 3 contest. From the boundary line, he puts all of his experience at AFL level into it, but he pulls it left, and a minor score, 4-19-43. It's a 25-point game as Blackburn lead 10-8-68.
I think he pulled up a bit proppy from that marking contest and looks a bit gingered as Jono Simpkin.
Yeah, he was showing signs at half-time, Josh. He was favouring that left leg.
Kenworthy, just seen a couple of times, plays on, and good leg speed out of full-back. Otten dropped something he should have taken. Cotton, if he can get onto it, he overran it though, and Baldwin going to jump on this one. Gilchrist on Hammond, and then diving over the top there was Gottliebson. In fact, it was Churgman who jumped in over the top and forces the ball up. Blackburn 68 lead this game to Baldwin's 43. Danaher out of the middle, Conker tripped over his own feet by knocking into the ball. He was out if he could be clean, he wasn't. Now O'Regan, hands over the top to Gilchrist in space. Got to hit that target. Just dropped it though. Did Simpkin. And dived upon.
The umpire was in really good position and he saw what happened. He wasn't paying the mark.
Good umpiring, but a terrible kick by Rennie Gilchrist. He had space and time and he couldn't hit a leading target as Bathy smashed it down the ruck. Fumbled to Gilchrist. Great pressure applied by Conker. Churgwin has to go back to Chivers. Comes over to Fraser. They're under immense pressure as always. Churgwin's kick high, and out of bounds on the full. Right in front of the Red Army on the wing here at Blackburn. And
that was 4 efforts from Conker then.
Yep.
4 chases then he put on.
Brilliant pressure.
Our man Gus McLeod working that board feverishly for Blackburn this afternoon.
He's going to be out there in the middle singing the song, that's for sure. If these guys can hold on as Compton and take his time with his kick. This goes long along the line. Hammond and Watkins targets. Great work by Hammond. Doesn't claim the mark, but umpire said play on. Kick was smothered into the path of Conker. Can pick it up. Chivers took his legs out from underneath him. The ball goes out over the line. 18.5 minutes, final term, and this is all Blackburns as they cruise home for 2 wins on the trot. And ball winning going to slip to 0-2, as Brash said, for the first time since 2014, losing 2 on the trot. Tossed in. Banks works hard to get front position, and he's done well as Murphy drags it out over the line. Cross keeps it alive, and now it's finally out over the top. And he's done all right, Banks. He looks like a relatively young player, Brash, and coming up against the experience of guys like Mason and Watts, I think he's held his own.
Boundary.
Most definitely.
Cross down boundary, Lana Coleman.
Yeah, just an observation that the new Blackburn players, you'll be really impressed with them as a Blackburn supporter, but maybe not so much so if you're looking at the new additions to the Baldwin team at the moment.
Stepped up to the plate, they certainly have, and once again it was Conker who got it out to Banks, who's been a real presence on the ground level, but his dribbling kick towards goal was pushed over for a minor score. 10-9-69, Baldwin 4-19-43 as he's ticking to time on here in this final term.
So Baldwin have to hurry their way forward as we tick towards time on in this last term. They trail by 26, but they've got out the back. San Filippo gets it around the corner. Again, Pendlebury gets underneath it, but at least he brings it down to the ground level where Blackburn have the numbers. And running out of defence is Campesano, who just kicks it as long and high as he can, try to get his teammate into the contest. He does well, Hammond. Hammond, he seemed to be falling over the ball, and then he just picks it up and dashes away from the contest, puts it into the forward 50, but this time it's held up through Gottliebsen, who gets it out wide and finds San Filippo on the wing. So he'll have another go at getting it forward. But he's stalled in his process. Short kick finds his Gilchrist, and Rennie again has to slow down and think of options. And they look sideways and backwards often in this scenario, but even then they're manned up. So Blackburn have been smart. They've kept them, slowed him down. The kick goes to Goebbels at ground level. Meeson does the roving, bundles it, bouncing. Does it bounce the goal? No. Yeah, well, from 40, it was a hurry kick forward, but it got so much bounce from the ground goal square that it went over the head of all players and just missed to the left side. So it's Baldwin, 4 goals, 20-44. They trail Blackburn 10-9-69, 21 minutes, fourth term.
Great mark by Socio from the Faulkner kick out.
He's such a strong boy, isn't he? Strong overhead, strong around the hips. Very impressed with this young man.
Got Conker by himself. That's where that kick will go. It's a lovely little chip. Conker marks, no one will man him, so he just takes off. Churgwin applied pressure from behind. Hammond brings it to ground and follows up his own work. Bouncing ball. Gottliebsen tackled nicely by Murphy. This one's still alive for Blackburn. Diving in Danaher, but O'Regan extracted it to Cross, who takes a bounce across half back, got nowhere to go. Well corralled, just got a handball to Tregear. Now to Meeson. Meeson back to O'Regan. This is all by hand through the middle of the ground. Fraser over the top to Goebbels. Plays on quickly, goes towards goal and misses, I think, yes.
Yep. Probably their best passage of play all day, Dave, and it results in one behind.
Yeah, but even still, Blackburn didn't give up with their pressure the entire time. So even though Baldwin went out free, they still were pressured.
Faulkner to Campesano. Takes the mark in the back pocket, and he's just maybe having a bit of cramp, so he's slowing the process down as well. And he's even getting the umpire involved just to chew away some seconds. Where's the man on the mark? The kick goes down the line, flying in with San Filippo, who couldn't take it with him. So ground level, it's a fight for the ball. Cross taps it up to Simpkin. Jonathan Simpkin kicks it around the corner in the forward line. Baldwin have it in their hands. O'Regan's got it, kicks it to the goal square. The spoil comes in from Macaulay. Ground level, it's a fight for the ball. Was the Baldwin player held without it? No, says the umpire, as Faulkner clears the congestion with a running hand pass to his teammate in Baffy, who hasn't been a star today, but he'll be a good contributor at centre forward, I think, this year. The kick goes from half back to half forward. Hammond leads the way for Blackburn, close to the line. He's got a man on his hammer, and Hammond gets a hand pass out. Kick goes inside 50, one-on-one contest. Conker does the spoil, then marks it. So from behind position, he takes it out of the air, and then from ground level, he claims it with the second bite at it.
They brought the ball then from the back half to the forward half through just persistence and pressure on every single Baldwin player until they got it forward then. And even then, that was a pressure mark, not a clear mark. So they've just not given up all day with it.
30 metres out, very acute angle, as acute as he can get with inside the boundary line for Conker, but he's kicked 2 from this sort of area. He just misses to the right, and it's a minus score. So Conker doesn't add to his 2 second term goals. At the 24-minute mark, it's Blackburn 10-10-70, leading Baldwin 4-21-45.
Taking it out of the back line for ball with a big torpedo is O'Regan. Great effort from Goebbels, almost stuck the mark. One on by Faulkner to Banks, now to Campusano. Throws a little tumbly punt on the boot, and McIntyre takes the strong mark. No hesitation, gives it off to Compton. Kick inside 50, a bit too close to the boundary. Bathy and Chivers collide, and the boundary line beats them all.
It was a bit cute as well. I think he had his teammates guessing.
That was I was just about to say, the first time I've seen them go in cute. They did, they'd been going in really direct with their kicks. That was a bit cute then.
Well, when you're 4 goals up late in the game, you can probably play some fancy football.
Hudson rose this one. Handball to Danaher, who's been superb. Couldn't quite beat his tackler there. He's been pinged, stiff, but probably there. Amazingly, brash Blackburn haven't kicked a goal this quarter. Yeah, you can probably still put a very good argument that they've controlled and won this quarter. They've looked the better side.
Yeah, you're right. They've absorbed pressure but lost it on the scoreboard.
O'Regan's kick was smothered, and great work by Bathy just to bring that one to ground. Baldwin players couldn't keep their feet. Blackburn jump on top and will lock it up on the outer wing.
Put it this way, there's one guy from Baldwin today that can hold his head high as O'Regan. I reckon he's done it.
He's had a real crack.
He's had a real crack today.
25-point lead to Blackburn. 25 minutes gone, final term. Here he is again, O'Regan. Kick smothered. Great effort there. I think it might have been Otten. Handball out to Banks, who's been really good at ground level. That kick probably not a good example. Makes Kenworthy really work for it. Tackled strongly by Pendlebury, and just the ball up.
He did that well, Kenworthy, because he could have handballed it out, but he made enough of it to create a stoppage. Clever work.
Tossed up, ball in centre half forward. Mason brings it down, cross, just sort of bundled it out and went again. And it's got to be a throw.
Yeah.
Umpire didn't see it. O'Regan got it out to Fraser, and there's the siren, folks. Good Friday football out at Moreton Park, and it's a great Friday for Blackburn. Final score 10-10-70. They defeat the reigning premiers 4-21-45. Goal kickers for Blackburn didn't need any goals in the final term. It was that third term that blew the Tigers out of the water. 2 to Conker, 2 to Fagan, singles to Hammond, Vazari, Sochio, Thorpe, Bathy and Watkins. For Baldwin, a dark day as they go zipping 2 to Soiser, Chivers, Pendlebury and Goebbels, the goal kicker, Sochio and Brett Davidson. This is a severe statement from the Blackburn Footy Club that they are here and they mean business in Division 1.
Oh, without a doubt, and I think, as we said before, any team coming to Moreton Park are in for a real test on their hands. The thing I like about them, they've brought a couple of bigs in who are quite mobile. Bathy was really good. Obviously, Conker was sensational, but their back half We heard Con before the game talk about players that are willing to play the game style that's expected of them right throughout the club. Today he had players in this team who have not played a lot of football, but gee, I tell you what, they played their structures well, and the one that we really looked at was Kenworthy with that one senior game last year. That's all he's played. He's been here all his life, I think, Kenworthy. He's been a reserves player. He's come out and he's done an outstanding job today. So very impressed with Blackburn. I don't know about Baldwin. I don't know what to think yet. Jury's very much out, but I tell you what, they've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, look, I think when you're looking at, I think Mason's still doing a job for him in the ruck. I don't think Watts does enough for him as his backup. I think once again, Baldwin were forced to go sideways. That piece of play in the last quarter, best part of 24 possessions, Brett, for negative 12 yards.
Yep.
I mean, that's not Baldwin-like. They really are struggling without with a key centre-half forward or centre and a full forward. They're middle-tier players who have probably, well, for the want of a better word, have ridden on the coattails of the Gilchrists and that are struggling to step up to the plate.
Yep.
The new players obviously still learning the ball and way of things, but really haven't had an impact that they would hope. So look, Marty Pass has got some work to do here. Where he starts, I don't know, because with a couple of players coming back in, Jared Wright played in the twos today. They probably could bring him back in defence. He had something.
Boundary.
Off you go, Lana.
Time for the song.
Oh, we might have just lost her. We got Alana there. I think we might have lost her just under the rooms, unfortunately.
We had her for a second.
Had her for a second and she's gone. We'll see if she comes back on. But very well said, and I didn't quite find the stat, but
here we go.
Yeah.
I hope it's not breaking up. There we go. They're cheering now. We hope it came through as much as possible, but potentially not. We'll get Alana to come back to us and bring her interviews to the front of near the fence, if she's listening, so that we can get a proper line to the microphone. So I might keep that in the background, actually. Some nice sounds of happy people, and the victory is well earned. And Brash, I don't know if you've done your pre-season stats on the win-loss clashes. Blackburn probably haven't beaten Baldwin that often. Do you know offhand? Did you do any of that?
Speaking to a few Blackburn supporters just before the game, I don't know if they have ever, or if it has, it's been a very, very long time, and a long time in between drinks. But something that a few of us said on the huddle a couple of weeks ago, there's a lot of good Division 1 sides now that are stepping up and challenging these, I guess what you could call the big three or the big four that have really dominated over the last couple of years. Sides like Blackburn, sides like Doncaster continue to improve, and it's just going to make for some more competitive action. And like you said, Brett, there's going to be grounds now that sides go to where there's no guaranteed easy wins.
And I think when you look around, you can see all the sides are going to be, sides are stepping up. Have a look at the AFL. We'd think that the Swans would be 0-4, but if you take away a number of good footballers, it's hard when you replace them with others that may not be used to the system for them to win. Baldwin, they've got a number of players out. The issue I've got is that I didn't see anything in the reserves that is going to be that walk-up, come in, and you're going to be the answer.
And if anything, the Blackburn's reserves have the stronger depth. They pummeled Baldwin's reserves by close to 80 or so points today.
And their 19's won by over 100 points. So you've got a situation where you've got a really strong total group, and Baldwin have always been a very strong senior group. But you lose a couple. Some of the replacements, yes, I think the Simpkins are going to maybe take a little while to get used to it. I'll be honest, jury's out on Farron Ray and whether he can play the style of football that's necessary to be successful here. But Look, I just couldn't see their system, and they couldn't change it up, and they got a bit. It's hard to get out-coached, but I thought they got out-coached with their structure today.
It's a good point. It's a good point because when it came to the structure, Blackburn were able to carve them up. And Brash, you said a couple of times, even when Blackburn did turn it over, their attack on the ball when play then was superb, and they almost. It didn't look as bad if they did turn it over. They kept their heads up. They kept fighting. And those big body mids that we saw are going to cause quite a few headaches. And a few of the VFL guys they've brought in definitely have settled a lot better than in some of those AFL names, which is often sometimes the case you see coming back into local football.
Most definitely. And the other thing I want, just backing up what both you and Davo have just said about the competitiveness of the Division 1 this year and the other divisions, with the knowledge that there could be a possible restructure at the end of this year, those final 3 spots in Division 1 in a competitive year is going to be really, really important, in the fact that I reckon this year, with that knowledge hanging over your head, those sides, I reckon you're going to have to win close to 8 games. You're going to have to win near 50% of your games in the hope that you're going to stay up, in the hope.
Yep, it's a very similar system to what they have in the Ammos, the 2 up, 2 down. If you look at the amateur system, what happens is that you have live games right to the very end of the year. And, you can't suddenly get a team that's second bottom that you're playing up and against, that's all right, we'll win that, because they could be fighting for relegation, or third bottom could be fighting for relegation this year. So suddenly every game's live, and so banking them early is important. Blackburn have banked 2 straight away. Baldwin are now coming from that position where, they've lost those 2. They're coming from behind, and they're going to start to ask themselves questions.
And they're coming up against a very highly credentialed Roval outfit who recruited very heavily in the off-season, because and Roval are in it to win it this year. They've invested a lot of time and energy this year, and it's not going to be an easy road trip going down to Seaback for them this year.
Davo, as a coach, you mentioned that it's not obviously all panic stations, just 2 losses, but what do you think needs to be tinkered with or changed, if anything, for Marty Pass, especially probably down with that forward line that we saw Baldwin had real troubles getting actual contested grabs or actually even getting stoppages? It just seemed to just leak straight out almost immediately.
Well, the first thing, as he said in pre-game, one of the things he said, look, we're going to play for the grounds that we're going to play on. But Baldwin certainly didn't play the ground well last week. They certainly haven't played it well this week. They've got to change up their structure, and that's the key thing. It's no good hopefully waiting for Broadhurst maybe to come back, Barker maybe to come back, or whatever is happening there. Suddenly their 2 key forwards down. They have got to develop or work out how to get their spine better. Pendlebury, they took Peter to pay Paul there a little bit, brought him down, and then he certainly straightened him up. But this is where, as we've said, as Brush said, this is where Renwick Watts has got to stand up a little bit more. They cannot afford to be going with this, changing their bigs off the bench when they haven't got enough bigs on the ground. Put the big fella up forward, change Meeson at forward. I know when the ball hits the ground, he's not as good.
Well, he's better than Watts.
And we saw a couple of times around the ground that he got for a mark, and there was no one that could match him for size.
Yep. And the thing is, as the opposition coach, you've still got to put someone big down on him. That's the key. If you don't have a big player down there, you can put a running half-back type that can be a nullify and run off, but you put a 6'6" bloke down there, you can't put a small half-back on him. You've got to put one of your talls back, and that's where the chess goes when you start coaching. It's that chess piece part. But they've got to try something, because they've kicked 10 goals in 2 games of football.
I just want to break in to let you know that we're still waiting on interviews, because Con Caraveras is obviously very excited. Probably drew his players into a meeting, so we may or may not before 5 o'clock get a players interview, but we'll definitely wrap up this game in depth and the status of the competition, because if we can get some... Oh, the players are actually just breaking up now for a warm down, so I reckon we might be good for an interview soon. So we'll just... One quick comment before... Brash, you wanted to make a comment before we go to our first interview.
Yeah, look, I think really when you don't have the cattle, it's very, very hard to try and to manufacture a winning formula, and I think that's where Marty Pask is at the moment.
We do have one of those interviews lined up. We have Anthony Fagan down on the boundary line with Alana Coleman. Alana, we'll throw it over to you first.
Hang on, sorry, I couldn't even hear. What did you just say? I was trying to get my thing on.
No, it's over to you, Alana, if you had a question to start us off.
Oh, yeah, sure thing. So congrats on your win. 2 in a row now. Must be really good to get a win against Baldwin.
Yeah, we sort of set ourselves for the first 2 weeks. Obviously in Norwood last week, and a really tough opponent, and then a 6-day break for us coming into Good Friday. It's obviously a privilege for the club to play on such a special day, the first time in the EFL, and we really set ourselves for this one during the week, and we just wanted to keep it simple and really bring the pressure early. And sort of out there on the ground, there wasn't too many easy kicks out there. It was a pretty hot game of footy, and full credit to our guys. We were able to cause some turnovers and really make them pay at times.
I was going to say it was pretty heated out there. There was a lot of off-the-ball stuff and definitely within the contest. But you guys really, I suppose, tread that fine line of being tenacious at the ball but not giving away too many free kicks. Was that something that you guys spoke about? Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, you want to be physical and aggressive and apply some constant pressure around the footy, and you've got to remain disciplined. It can get heated out there at times, and Baldwin always going to take it up to you and come to the challenge. So it was really important in the early part of the game. We got a free kick and resulted in an early goal. They kicked the first 2. It was sort of important that we sort of got back in the game early, and then from there we were able to sort of take the advantage leading into quarter time. And although it was heated, I thought our guys did really well to keep some controlled aggression around the footy and making sure we didn't go above the line. Anthony, it's Brash here. Congratulations on the win, mate. I actually reckon the win was probably set up by the fact that you performed well when Norwood challenged you last week, and the fact that the confidence that you got out of that win really set you in good stead this afternoon. Yeah, absolutely. We've had a pretty new group over the last 2 years, and a totally new game plan. So it took us a long time to sort of get that right last year, and then obviously this year we've sort of been building throughout the pre-season. And to answer your question, obviously last week gave us some great confidence. I thought we sort of really bring the heat around Norwood, and then obviously, as you said, it gives us some really good confidence and momentum going into today's game. We knew they were going to come hard in the second half. They were going to take the game on, but we talk about winning the big moments, and I thought we were able to stand up when the game was on the line today and win those big moments. Anthony, it's Brett Davidson here, mate. I thought your defensive structures were outstanding today. Your ability to push a player behind the ball, block. You allowed Baldwin to transition the ball across the ground, but they just couldn't seem to move the ball forward. Was that part of the game plan? Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we want to make sure that we locate quickly, and obviously they've got some really quality players, so we've got to shut them down, and they like to bring each other into the game through short use by feet, and also a lot of handball receives too. So it's important we sort of close that down, slow their ball movement, so it does allow us to set up behind the footy, like you said. And we've got some good defenders who can play on our opponent, but then zone off and provide that third man support. So it's something that we sort of keep working on. We missed sort of James Grissom today, but he's obviously another key player that coming into a really good intercept player, and we've started really to build some depth right across the ground through our mids, forwards and backs. And I think obviously they didn't kick very straight. Like looking at the scoreboard now, they kicked 21 points, but they had some shots they should have kicked, but also our pressure out in the ground sort of caused a lot of those points too. Yeah, we were talking about the fact that you've got a number of players in the team who are Blackburn players that have not played a lot of senior football. One of those guys who's been around the club a long time, James Kenworthy. Today, we thought he was outstanding with his run from defence today. And it must be great to be able to bring guys like that from the reserves who understand the system and are able to play the system so well. Yeah, absolutely. Cuddles, as we call him, he had a terrific pre-season, hardly missed a session, in the top 5 in all our running, and got roared for effort throughout the pre-season. We always said, once you get an opportunity in our side, then it's up to you to take it. And he's taken his opportunity throughout the 3 intra-club practice games. And then obviously he's come out the last 2 weeks and provided some great run. And he's one of those guys, he sort of lopes along when he gets the footy, and it's exciting to watch. So he's able to really just go out there and play his role. He doesn't need to do anything fancy, but he's certainly taken his opportunities really well the first 5 weeks of the season. And Anthony, last one, big moment. You kicked a goal, got the game started for Blackburn on the board, and then they went after you.
Well, that was a big moment.
Well, obviously it was sort of important. I thought that, you know, considering the fact they kicked 2, we spoke about before the game that they might get a run at some point in time, and probably a weakness for us previously is when sides do get a run on, then they can kick sort of 3, 4 or 5 in a row. So I was really conscious out there between the leaders. We need to make sure we kick one, get the game back on our terms a little bit, and you know, I was sort of just lucky it sort of fell my way to the front of the contest, and I was able to kick one, and I just happened to see Weatherwood running off, and I thought I'd let him know that he shouldn't let me sort of sneak around the back line like that, and was lucky enough to get another one. And it really was sort of critical. You spoke about the discipline earlier, and you know, sort of giving away another free kick there to give us back sort of 2-0 was certainly important for us earlier.
Yeah, well done. It's a great time, 2-0, and you've had 2 scalps that probably are prized.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's certainly a great feeling to beat Baldwin on Good Friday. You know, it was a terrific crowd here, so we thank, you know, the fans from both sides and also the EFL for letting us play on, you know, such a great occasion. So I'm sure everyone enjoyed the spectacle. It was a really hard-fought contest out there, and you know, we certainly look forward to, you know, moving forward to South Croydon, another big one on Anzac Day.
Well spoken, and thanks for your time.
No worries, thanks guys.
Anthony Fagan, the skipper of Blackburn, a good leader, and he speaks well, and he takes, when talking to us, he took the ball and he ran with it, and that's an articulate man. It's a good leader.
It was a great battle he had with Jackson Weatherald, and he's coming up against a guy who's had a lot of experience in big-time finals, and he definitely got over the line in that one, Brash.
Yeah, Josh, and yeah, look, it was I thought Fagan was really good. A couple of stats here, just want to throw at you. The last time Blackburn beat Baldwin was in 2011 round 3 by 65 points at Moreton Park, and they also beat them in round 2, 2010 by 54 points at Baldwin.
Well, there you go.
So it's been a long time in the making, really.
Mark McNay off Twitter, thanks for that, mate. There's a brilliant little stat there, and the Red Army is certainly celebrating this historical win fantastically.
We won't have time for another interview.
No.
I just want to make Alana, don't tee anyone up because you're going to disappoint them.
Well, we've got 5 minutes.
We've only got 5 minutes.
We've got 5 minutes left, Gav, so let's go through. We've got 2 awards today.
Yes, go ahead.
We'll start with the Vibro goal of the day. Now, Brash and Davo, a couple sprung to mind. Anything special that stood out for you? We had Dylan Vazzari kicked a really nice goal in front of us in the first term, but we also had Luke Conker's really tidy set shots as well when the game was running hot. Any thoughts that spring to mind for the goal of the day?
Look, Vazzari's was a bit of a fluke, but it was a real lifter at the right time.
Yeah.
So I'd probably go with Vazzari.
Yeah, I'm happy with that, Josh.
So there you go, Dylan Vazzari will take home the goal of the day there, thanks to the Vibro. And the player of the day, thanks to Trojan, the 3 2-1s. I hope you boys have had a bit of time to think about it. We'll start with you, Brash. 3 2-1 for your best players today.
I'm going to give, I thought Max Otten was sensational. I'm going to give him 3 votes. I'm going to give 2 votes to James Kenworthy off a half-back flank. I thought he was sensational. And I'm going to give my 3rd vote to, or 1 vote to Luke Conker in the forward line. 2 goals, but he was lively all afternoon and was probably the most dangerous forward on the ground.
Brett Davidson.
Yeah, I'm going 1 vote to Daniel Camposano. Thought he was the general early, set the tone with his physicality. He's an old-time backman. I really like the way he goes about it. General down there. 2 votes. I'm going to go with Luke Conker. Kicked a couple, set him up, got his hands on it, worked really hard. Forward pressure was enormous. And I'm going 3 votes to Kenworthy. I just love the way he ran from defence, used the football. And I love the story. The story is that, you know, they gave these guys an opportunity to put their hands up. He's been here a long time. He's put his hand up and he's come out and he stood up to First Division pressure and been a really good footballer today.
Well, before we get to you, Gav, our boundary rider, Alana Coleman, your 3 2-1, please.
Oh, am I starting with 1 or 3?
1. So wherever you
Starting
are.
1, all right. So I reckon I would have given a 1 vote. A lot of them coming from the back line for me today, but my 1 vote would have gone to Max Otten. I just thought his ability to break the lines and just his ability to read the play was excellent. 2 votes would have gone to, is it Camposano?
Yes.
Yes. I just thought he was a general down back and just controlled everything down there and well and truly beat whoever he was playing on at any given time. And 3 votes to Socio. He was outstanding. he's an exceptional athlete. He's got a great tank, and for someone who plays through the guts, absolutely is strong, he's fit, he's fast, he makes good decisions under pressure, and he's not afraid to go in and win a contested footy. So that was my 3-2-1 for today.
Brilliant, fantastic work as well down the boundary line for us today.
Thanks. It was a bit quiet down there.
But, a little bit feisty as well.
It was feisty. I did love it, I must admit.
Gav Casey, your 3-2-1.
I'm going on gut feel because it was a real team effort from Blackburn, but I'm going 1 to Campesano, who just was a bull and hard to get past, and just when they were soaking up the pressure, I liked his efforts. One guy that impressed me was Socio. He kicked a goal in the third term. I like strength around the contest, and he never let the team down, and that's what had Baldwin second-guessing the contest. And I gave Conker the 3. I don't know, he just seemed to do the things in tight that opened the game up for Blackburn, and for me that's always exciting to see, and he's more of an MVP than best on ground.
Yeah, well,
he's a smart footballer.
Very well said. I'm going to give 1 vote to Danaher. I thought he was tidy and confident through the midfield. 2 votes going to give to Conker. I thought he was superb and kicked some pretty important goals, and 3 votes to Macaulay down back. Strong and important against some pretty talented forwards. I think that means Luke Conker takes home the Trojan Player of the Day, a couple of votes away from Jules Socio and Macaulay as well. Before we go,
Gus
before we
is not
break
happy.
up here, Gus missed out on his votes.
The Blackburn cheer squad's here.
That's only because he'd be incredibly biased. We're joining Gus McLeod, EFL media team member. No votes for you, mate, but just give us a little bit of a feeling about the atmosphere that was down the bench from today's game.
I was pretty full on. I was more worried about getting a spray from Con at any time than watching the footy, but I just think for the Blackburn people, it was so good to get a win over Ball, and obviously they've been a powerhouse for the past 10 years in the Eastern Footy League, and for the Blackburn people to get a win, it was so special, not only for the playing group, but for the Red Army that came out today. It's just a really special day.
Good on you, mate. That Red Army is building, and there's certainly a special signs. So thanks for jumping in, mate. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your night. Brett Davison and Wayne Brasher, expert special comments as always. An entertaining game, fellas, so thank you very much for your contributions throughout.
Thank you very much for having us, Josh.
Alana Coleman, once again, thank you for your boundary efforts. Look forward to seeing you about sometime next week.
Yes, I will be back next week. Yes, maybe on the huddle.
Maybe on the huddle.
Maybe.
Maybe tracking.
Are you there?
I should be there. Maybe tracking how Forest Hill are going.
Yeah.
We're going to getting some wins next week, you reckon?
Yes.
Yes. Big call there. Gav Casey as well. Thank you for your fantastic calling. We've got a
pleasure.
You chemistry together, mate.
I reckon we did all right. Pat on the back for ourselves.
Yes, that's it. To Giggles. To Lee Green as well, who I saw in that far side with the camera. Some superb work. And as always, the rest of the AFL team who were out here today, as well as our media man, Dan Senjic, just working marvellously on the laptop, keeping everyone updated on social media. Gav, good Friday football, a raging success, and even better for Blackburn.
Yeah, 10-10-70, defeated Baldwin 4-21-45.
And that's all from Moreton Park. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you tune in to the Huddle next Friday, and we'll be set for another big EFL game day next Saturday. 98.1 Radio Eastern, the home for Eastern Football League action. Enjoy the rest of your night, as the Blackburn Football Club certainly will.
Happy Easter.